I don't want to go out over the broadcast, so I'm not going to talk. Let's make sure I'm muted in Discord on the tower. If you can hear me, click on that golden icon on the top left-hand side of Discord. The golden orbs on your laptop.
walk me through it.
On your laptop,
Yeah.
on Discord, right-click on AJSGM
And mute that.
and mute it.
Okay. Is that it?
That will stop your echo.
No, it didn't.
No.
It did not.
No bueno.
It did not.
You're getting an echo.
Hearing a pretty good echo. And what happened with the... I have half of my screen.
Uh-oh.
Why is that?
Dude.
I didn't do nothing.
I did it all.
Welcome to Jeremy's Brain.
Okay, so the title on here...
What happened?
well, if I turn on the title, somehow the title got changed.
Discombobulated. We love it when a plan comes together, especially when it's echo.
I'm going to do this real quick.
Are you on the tower? I'll stop moving it.
Echo.
I am on the tower. What are you doing?
Okay, I'll stop moving so you can try whatever.
Echo. I can hear an echo.
We got a good echo going.
A really good echo. Echo. Turn the time.
Yeah. Oh, see, now I can hear myself.
Now I can
hear the echo.
Yeah, now you can hear the echo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Echo.
Well, let's see what we got. See, that's turning
that's
off
better.
the echo. Yeah, but then they can't hear the computer. So there's something coming through the computer. I don't know, somewhere on somebody's end.
No more echo.
Because if I play the, let's see, if I play any of these, yeah, you can't hear any of that.
Okay.
Can you hear it through the? Can you hear the computer through the stream? Tim? This is only our second time trying this stuff, and yeah, we're good.
It never works exactly the way you plan it to work because it's a computer. And I heard they have bugs.
You know what they have? They have a pain in my ass.
Bugs.
Well, Patrick's opening up his package.
Yeah. And they're falling out. And now they're on the table. Yeah, we're a little loud, don't you think?
Yeah. Are you loud in your ears?
I am.
Let's see here. Yeah, so this is coming through with an echo. And that wasn't echoing that way at all last time.
No. No echo.
So something got changed.
How's that possible?
I didn't touch a thing from last week, and it was working fine. So.
Okay, Lord, we'll just pray against the echoes.
Yep. Are you there, Tim? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now? Maybe that's better.
He's over there making.
Is he making whoopee?
There. Let's try that.
That says hi. Put on.
Let's try that. Okay, now go over to the ATEM and see if we can unmute the tower and see if that fixed it.
There it is.
Check
Turn
1
it
2.
on.
Check 1 2. Now I'm still getting an echo.
Check.
Yeah, I don't know where that echo's coming from. It shouldn't be. Well, let's mute you in Discord on the tower as well.
Oh.
Because I just need to hear you on your laptop.
That was it, buddy.
Is that
Roger,
it?
Roger.
Yep. So the Discord was bleeding through. All right.
Yep.
I think we have a
Rock and
plan
roll.
coming together.
I wish you would have seen my preview video. It was pretty fun to make.
Was it fun? I couldn't. I don't know where it was at. I'm sorry.
Well, I put it in that folder you closed when you walked into the room.
Oh
where's
my word.
The folder.
Open the folder again. Let me see it.
Can we turn me down a little bit?
In your ears?
And it was
Thank you.
Better?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to turn his ears down and not his microphone.
right there, highlighted.
Maybe I should turn his microphone.
Highlighted.
Oh, okay. Let's do that.
What are you doing?
Whoops, it's not the one I want. I got too many buttons over here.
Send it to VLC. And then full screen the VLC, right?
Yep. So we're working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes to try to make this work.
Oh, sorry, you were doing it.
Did it go over there? I'm not seeing it over here.
And this is how it's done.
Yep, last on the list. Oh, wait, no, where's it?
In real
Preview?
time.
Right there?
Promo, that one.
That one?
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we get.
And I can hear Tim. Am I supposed to hear Tim?
Yeah, you can hear Tim. That's fine.
All right.
It's not,
Hey everybody, just getting ready for the show tonight. I wanted to drop a line on what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to do a little bit of remembrance of Memorial Day and what it really means. We're going to touch on some of the gun control stuff.
Wow. Are we playing with the volume ourselves?
We hope you tune in 8 p.m. tonight. This is My Brain. I'm Jeremy Scott Gibbs. Join me with Grandma Connie, Taylor, Patrick, and we're going to have a great time. It's fifth Tuesday, so we're just going to be free-for-alling on the alcohol choice tonight. I'm going to be doing some skewers and a few other things.
How about those skewers?
Tune in tonight, 8 p.m. Check us out.
All right.
So
there's
he said he was just previewing it, so they didn't see it, right?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, they
No, I
didn't.
think he switched it.
No, he didn't.
Oh, I
You did?
couldn't switch it. You took the mouse.
You took
Oh.
the mouse, silly.
Well, they heard it.
I heard it.
They heard it.
It's pretty good.
Yes, they
Pretty
did.
good. That was pretty
We
good.
heard it on stream.
Well, I'm not playing it again for the people in the audience.
That's fine. But that's what I can make every week.
That's awesome, buddy. I appreciate it.
That's really good.
Okay, so let's officially get started now an hour later. This is My Brain, and this is how my brain works. There's 58,000,
Not
58 million. 58 million things going on at once.
in your brain.
Yeah, and sometimes the equipment doesn't cooperate with the brain.
50 million things are going on in
58.
your brain.
58.
Let me write it down.
Million things.
58 million.
Million.
Okay.
Million things.
Millions.
Mr. Allen, can you pull up? I need to pull up a restream chat over here on the screen too, please. All right, so this is My Brain. I'm Jeremy Scott Gibbs, Patrick Acton, Grandma Connie, and Taylor Vincent Gibbs will be here shortly. He was doing some automotive work. And
I
so
lost audio.
you turn your thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't move.
You know, it's that plug.
Is it?
I bought a bunch of those gold ones,
Mm-hmm.
and they're just junk.
That's one of his
I don't
58
remember.
million
Just
thoughts.
junk. What? You
I
don't-
don't remember where Restream is.
Okay, buddy, I got you. Uh-oh.
Oh, it was web interface.
We're
Open that
making
new
ice
tab.
downstairs. And I got to log in over here. Oh, there we go. Okay. I hate when sites that you're on all the time make you.
All right, I'll remember to do this. The AJS GM Yahoo login Restream copy.
Yep, and then we come over to chats and see where everybody's at. There we go. There's our stream thing. I just got to check in on that periodically and see where we're at. It is Tuesday,
Yes.
May 31st, 2022. We just had Memorial Day. But let's talk about dinner, Patrick. How was dinner?
Actually, it was the longest Monday, Tuesday I've ever dealt with because it serves health seemed like a Monday. For some reason, I'm sounding very crackly. Do I sound that way to you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, but the...
No, that's just the way his voice always is.
You think?
No.
That's about... No, he's sounding really...
crackly.
A little crackly. I'll adjust it here real
All
quick.
right.
Anyways, what do we? Let's recap dinner real quick, and then we'll move on.
Okay. Yeah, it's still crackly.
Well,
Well, you can talk while it's crackly.
yeah.
Can I don't want to drive
Yeah.
everybody nuts because that's getting better. Yes. Yeah, dinner was the famous salad I make every week,
Mm-hmm.
which I got here late, so I'm the only one that ate it. And we had shish kebabs, chicken and steak. I opted for the chicken, trying to be the healthy guy here.
Oh,
Yeah.
I opted for mostly steak and then a little bit of chicken.
Well, I figured that much. You're
Yeah.
a steak kind of guy.
I opted for both, half and half.
I periodically just have to go,
with
you know what?
spinach because the salad was late.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
But thank God I brought my. I must have known you were going to be late because I just grabbed a little bag of
Life
it and
happens,
went out the door.
man. Life
That,
happens.
Yeah.
that and your scissors and you're golden.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Jeremy's
exactly.
got a pair for me, so it's
Okay.
it's
I try to
good.
keep
But
it,
yeah, I
you
was
know?
golden. Absolutely.
How did I click on Instagram shit? I don't need that shit. All right. I
Yeah,
got to.
we also had sweet corn with it.
Yeah.
First sweet corn of the year. I don't. Where'd you get it?
I picked it up at Myers.
It was good.
Meyer corn.
It was
Yeah.
really good.
So it means it's a Florida or a California program.
Florida or California. It could even be northern Mexico.
Oh man, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Mexican corn. Ooh.
You know what? That's why we eat by faith, because
Amen. Because
you
we were.
never know.
We
You go
just
hard
had
work.
Leslie and I just talked about that because we ate something and it was from
yeah.
Mexico.
And
Yeah.
you know what? I have mushrooms on
Oh,
the
it was
list.
the raspberries.
Yeah.
I have
that we
mushrooms on
had.
the list, and I didn't saute. I was going to saute up some mushrooms, and I
Didn't
just
need
got
it.
busy.
It
So
was
cross,
perfect.
Oh, so
Let's
just
cross
cross
that
that out. Yeah.
let's cross that off on the list.
No
here.
shrooms.
It's so disappointing that I didn't do
You
that.
moved from that thick cardboard paper to something that's a little
You know
more.
what? I
He's
still have
not
the cardboard for
swearing
when
at
you
the
guys
printer as much.
when you guys sign. You'll sign my copy,
Okay.
but I gave you the copy so that you have the back sides. And the for some reason the printer doesn't like the cardboard, and so it
Does
gets
not like that
it gets
card
angry.
stock.
It doesn't like the card stock, so it gets angry at us. So I switched to so I just did one card stock for me that you guys can sign at the end of the show, and then you guys get the regular paper. But I would much prefer that you guys get the card stock, you know. But it
Yeah.
just
No, you don't need to spend that money. This cheap ass flimsy stuff's just fine for
yeah.
me. I'm not.
Well, for you and Vince, you guys don't really.
Well,
know.
and we're not archiving it. So you archive
Yeah,
the.
I'm archiving it.
the signed copies.
I think I have a year and a half's worth now
Yeah.
of signed
Well,
signed copies.
I've been involved for that long at least.
Mm-hmm. I originally thought about. I had an idea because there's a scene in the movie The Perfect Storm. You remember that movie, The Perfect Storm?
Mhm.
And they come in and they've got a real small. They didn't catch a lot of fish, but what they caught they brought in, and the guy that greets them is played by Michael Ironsides, and he's like, you got this much fish, and he's like, sign my ledger. He owns the boat. And so when they bring in their catch, he calculates how much their fish is worth, and then he deducts from them their share of the cost of the boat and the cost of the bait and the fuel and all of that stuff. And then they get the balance is what their pay is. And he comes over and he says, all right, here's your balance. Sign my ledger. And that table over there is unfinished. I don't know if anybody can see it, the table shot. There's a table right back here beyond the screens. It's a reclaimed table. They were going to throw it out at one of these resale shops, and so it didn't cost me a thing. I threw it in the back of the truck, and they we sanded it all down. We did a bunch of stuff to it, but we didn't finish the top because I wanted to get everybody to sign the top of the table. And then once I had a whole bunch of signatures on it, I wanted to clear coat it. And it just didn't work out yet.
Because nobody signed it, or because it just.
No, just because it didn't work out to where I could get enough
hasn't
people.
happened.
It hasn't happened where I had enough people sitting down and signing it each week.
Yeah.
So I resorted to having everybody sign my paper at the end of each show, and that's worked out tremendous. So I think I'm going to stick with that. Yeah. So anyways, there we go. What do you got, Mom? Oh, yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah. The K in monkeypox is silent. It's called moneypox.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we have a bigger threat of donkeypox coming up. Have you seen that meme going around?
Yeah.
No.
That donkeypox, it
Yeah.
kills everything.
Yeah.
How's that?
Donkeypox, that's the Democrat icon, the icon for the Democrat Party. Donkeypox.
Oh.
Jackass. So anyways, let's see. Well, Tim says he's over there. Dual time. All right, so good dinner. Some skewers.
It was. Yeah.
I did not want to call them kebabs.
Well, they were kebabs.
Shish
Well, here's the
kebab.
thing.
Shish kebabs.
I've got metal skewers in the pantry downstairs, and they never called them kebabs. They called them skewers.
Skewers, yeah.
So when I looked at it, I went,
Skewer kebab.
if I put shit on these, then I'm cooking skewers, right? That's my
Shish
theory.
kebabs held with skewers, held together with skewers.
yeah. So anyway, so we did the skewers. Anyways, let's get to some pronouncements here. Get that out of the way, and see where
Go for
those are at. Do what?
Just saying go for it. I stopped using the computer.
Okay. I had them. Where'd I have them pulled up, buddy? I thought.
I don't know.
Right there.
No, that's the folder I was just in.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's not going to work. Did I screw that up?
Nope. You're good. I got
Oh,
you.
all right. We're doing
I
the
got you, buddy.
disclaimers.
Yep.
Where's
let's do this quick.
Vincente?
I thought I heard somebody rumbling down there, but apparently not.
Oh, sorry. Notice.
Oh,
Are you ready? You gonna put it up?
I am. Go.
Notice. This place is politically incorrect. We say Merry Christmas, one nation under God. We slap the bugs. We salute our flags. We give thanks to our troops. If this offends you, please leave.
Or
Get the fouch
get
out.
the fuck
Oh,
out.
Fouch.
yeah.
Fouch.
Get the fouch out.
Fouch
Get the
out.
vouch out. Get out of here. We don't.
Come on.
You don't have to listen. Do yourself a favor, and us too. I think you don't. I think it should only be said
20
that
minutes-
way. You know.
What? Yeah.
Do yourself a favor.
Get the
don't
fuck out.
don't get all bent and all up in
No,
your
just
head
leave.
and all cranky and everything. You just shut us off and go find something else to bitch about.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's appropriate
I literally just killed one, and his brother came out
because
Three
it's
more.
it's so funny that it happens
right when the
this-
show starts.
What time is it? Let's mark this time. 8:28 bug. 8:27 bugs.
Yeah.
I think it's important.
It is important.
So do yourself a favor.
Yeah.
Understand, we're not here to worry about you. and
Hey,
your-
if you're gonna get offended by the show,
and
then
your
just fucking leave.
angst,
I'm
and your
not. You know what?
angst.
I'm talking to real people about real
Yeah.
life and real situations here.
There you
know
go.
what?
This is my brain, right?
I've yet to see a single person that didn't stub their toe and either utter an expletive or get really fucking close.
Well, just get the fouch out. Yeah.
Just get the fouch out. Don't be a Pelosi.
Nope. Yeah.
I guess I'll cover this one since Vincente hasn't arrived yet. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, except for bears. Bears just fucking kill you.
Bears will just fouch and kill you. Yeah.
Bears just kill you. And then let's see, next we have Patrick.
I would challenge you to a battle of wits, but I can clearly see that you are unarmed.
Unarmed.
Yep. No idea what you're doing.
I'm gonna get this son of a bitch flying around my man.
Where is he?
Dude, how do I get
Oh!
so
there goes
fucking close?
there goes the decibels.
I know. I popped the
hole in
meter.
the ceiling, but you know.
Next time I have to push it this way.
That was like your sneeze.
I know.
We were talking about our sneeze.
I have noises. And
Like, I
they
gotta get the.
are el natural.
That's your sneeze doesn't even cut it for like just you muting it. I gotta like mute the whole system when
I
you go
know.
to sneeze. I'm like, holy shit.
Well, just remember when I say I have to sneeze,
Yeah.
it's coming.
Okay. It's easier to fool the people than to convince them that they have been fooled. Mark Twain. So it's easier to lie to people than to convince them that they have been lied to. He was saying it nicely. Let's see. Patrick.
To argue with a person who has renounced the use of reason is like administering medicine to the dead.
Is
Thomas Paine.
that kind of fucking useless?
It is.
It's quite the
Give
statement,
Patrick some
though,
more
Ted.
Volume. Patrick, some more volume.
Yeah.
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 Honestly, that's quite the statement, though.
Right. It is.
Yeah. It's like, realize this, people.
Yeah. You're useless.
Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. And small minds discuss people.
Peoples. You got a frog in there, Patrick?
I get a tickle every now and then.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I get those.
It's not a COVID thing.
It's not. Oh, it's not?
No.
Oh my.
I thought everything was COVID now. And Vince isn't here, so I have to do this one. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That was issued in December 15th in 1791, and it expires never.
Yep.
And they have
you,
infringed on
Lord.
this extremely.
Yep.
Patrick and I can't go out and buy, if we had the money, go out and buy, an F-15
No.
fighter jet. Well, that's arms,
Yep.
but we can't buy it. Well, this says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Well, what do you need a fighter jet? I don't know. Why does our military need a fighter jet? Defense?
Yep.
Okay. What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Yep.
Constitution also says that we're not supposed to have a standing army except in times of war, so that they've created perpetual wars
Yep.
in order to perpetually have a standing army.
Yep.
The army was supposed to come for the people so that they had a direct involvement in the activities of defense of the nation and the states in particular. When you go back and you look at, and we're going to get into some details on this tonight, but when you go back and you look at the Revolutionary War in particular, but then the War of 1812, and then the Civil War, the regiments that were called up by state. They were called up by state. The Michigan Regiment. I like reading about the Michigan and Ohio regiments and stuff, and the different Michigan militia and the Ohio militia, and the different militias were named by the states that they came from. And you might be the second regiment from the Michigan militia, but it was the groups of people. And one of the quotes I want to get to when we get to it is the Japanese did not want to invade this country because they knew that behind every blade of grass there would be a gun, because we were an armed citizenry. Is the first time in the history of mankind that a state put in record that all citizens had the right to self-defense. There were other states that had like the Spartans and stuff like that were warrior states, but this is the first country that has said armed citizenry across the board. Not only do they have access, but you can't infringe this.
Yep.
And they have tried and tried and tried and tried, and they're trying it again. We're going to get into that.
Isn't Sweden the similar case?
Sweden is phenomenal in that.
In fact, they're leader ahead of us.
Yeah.
In that thought.
Sweden and no, not Sweden. Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Yes, you were. I was on the same page as you, but Switzerland, and to a lesser extent, Israel. Now I say to a much lesser extent because of the freedoms and stuff like different, but in Switzerland, every head of the household or at least one adult in the household is required to own a firearm, and everyone of adult age is required to be trained. And the interesting thing is that Switzerland is a landlocked country in the middle of Europe and went through 2 world wars. And not only did they not have to pick a side, they handled everybody's money. So what does that tell you about having an armed citizenry?
Well, I think the reason that I brought it up was because that's so poignant, and yet we miss it. If somebody doesn't draw your attention to that fact,
right, you miss it.
You miss it. You just said that the Japanese didn't want to invade our country because the I can't say it.
Citizenry.
So, thank you. Citizenry.
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 The peoples.
The people's got the guns.
Them peoples.
If people got the guns, I think
the people. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess for me it's like I don't own a gun. Okay.
Yet.
But that doesn't mean that I'm against guns.
Right.
In any respect.
Well, you better step up and get yourself one before you no
Well,
longer
you
can.
better not tell me what to do there, mister.
Oh shit, Patrick.
You
That's-
better back up and stay in your own lane there,
Whoops.
buddy.
That is my lane.
I switched to
No,
the
it
wrong-
isn't.
I
No,
switched it.
no.
If you want to
No,
have one,
no,
you
we
should
better
do
mute
that.
me.
You
No,
should have.
no,
you
no.
should get one because they're
No,
not going. They're going to.
no.
You're going to find them restricting what you can buy. Is what I'm saying.
All right, there's this.
Okay, and I'm going to look you in the face and say, I got a son who's got a gun here that I can have. Ask him. So I'm not worried about that part.
Yeah.
I will concentrate on what I can do and what I am able to do, and when it's time, it will happen.
The point of my conversation is, and I'm going to make this clear, is that if you want to purchase one, you should probably do that because they're working hard to require you to have certain, I don't know, legal, like you have to be a law enforcement agent or something like that to actually possess or own one or buy one. So, if you want to go buy one, that's what my point was.
Yeah,
You
they're
wanna
trying
buy
to
it.
take away everything. We're
Okay,
gonna get into
that's
that
a
too.
good point.
Yep.
That's
We're-
a really good point. If you are interested in getting a gun, do it now.
Yep.
Before,
Every time they talk.
because they want to stop us from
Yep.
buying,
Yep.
and they haven't done it, and me,
Yep.
we need to recognize.
I mean, when Obama was in office, he had the federal government buy up a lot of ammunition so that we couldn't get it.
Right. That's exactly right. They bought up as much as the IRS owns multiple millions, if not billions, of rounds of ammo. What the fuck does the IRS need to own ammo for?
Yeah.
The
Wow, this
largest
is
official
interesting.
army, Communist China, is 2.5 million. The largest unofficial army is American gun owners, 70 plus million. The founding fathers knew what they were doing. I can't read the bottom of that. I don't know how we resize that. The founding fathers knew what they were doing when they passed the Second Amendment. We'll just say that. Yeah, that's awesome. I did not know that one. The one I tried to pull up right there is you. This was from Hirohito.
What is that?
Or no, Yamamoto. Yamamoto said, "You cannot invade the mainland of the United States. There would be a rifle behind every blade of grass." Yeah.
So what's this rumor that I was hearing about the Biden administration allowing China to invade the west coast of the United States to try to create?
I have not dove into it, but they're talking about something in July where they're yeah. Well, we left how many billions of dollars of weaponry in Afghanistan? Sent billions of dollars of aid over to Ukraine. Left our borders wide open. So would it surprise me that if the Biden administration, the former vice president, the puppet in chief is at the helm of allowing a bunch of shit like that to happen?
Yeah.
No. I mean, they already have bought a number of things in this country, along with Gates and a bunch of these other fuckfaces.
There you go.
What do you got?
Texas concealed carry. Share your school district pics. Here's one sent to us.
What's it say? Please be aware that the Samoan ISD is on guard. Is a guardian school staff be aware that the Samoan ISD is a guardian school period. Okay. Staff are armed and will use whatever force is necessary to protect students and faculty.
And that's out of
Absolutely. I posted
Texas.
just before we went live when we were talking during dinner that I said if you want to disarm, where did I put that at? Let me pull this up real quick.
the problem is not guns, it's hearts without God, homes without discipline, schools without prayer, and courtrooms without justice.
Absolutely.
Look at whose pictures on that
Yeah.
one.
Oh yeah, Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
I love it. See, there we go. I'm gonna pull that up. I'm gonna minimize that. Okay. Yes, Patrick, I found it.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. If you are for disarming law-abiding citizens and not posting armed guards at every single school in the nation, then you are by default wanting children to die in the next mass shooting. Criminals do not obey gun laws, you emotional leftist useful idiots. Guns and billions to Ukraine to fight Russia, but disarm law-abiding citizens to fight criminals here. It's fucking it's yes. No, Tisha. She says I think you meant useless idiots because there's obviously no use for them at this point. No, I understand what you're saying, and they actually tried to correct me. And I was, no, they are useful idiots. They are useful to the people using them. They're useful idiots. They're not thinking.
Right.
They're just spouting emotional leftist bullshit, and they're useful idiots to that control freak leftist agenda. That's the bottom line. It's yeah. What did we post here, Mom? Oh yeah, I saw this one earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pull it up.
Pretty funny.
Yeah. Let me see if I can get it centered on the screen. And there we go. Whoops, I gotta minimize that. So, a picture's worth 1,000 words. There's a lion in the shadow of Trump, a snake, and a decrepit old fuck. That looks like
E.T. or
no, you know who that is?
Oh, what is that?
That's the guy from Family Guy, the creeper guy that always is always the pedophile guy that's always hitting on the kids in Family Guy.
Oh, gross.
Hi, how's it going? All right, let's finish up these disclaimers and get out of here.
All right, what you got left?
We got one or two left. Tim took over my mouse here. Let's see.
Oh. Yeah, what do you got left?
This is my brain overlay over the.
There you go.
Thank you, sir. A long habit of not thinking a thing wrong gives it a superficial appearance of being right and raises at first a formidable outcry in defense of custom, but tumult soon subsides and time makes more converts than reason. Thomas Paine, Common Sense, 1776. That is the main pamphlet, a quote from the main pamphlet that inspired enough people to come on the side of the patriots to fight the American Revolution. Phenomenal stuff. What do you got, Ma? You're laughing. You're just going through all the memes over there, aren't you?
It says a mummy covered in chocolate and nuts has been discovered in Egypt. Archaeologists believe it may be Ferrero Rocher. That's a candy.
What the fuck?
It's that gold wrapped candy with the nuts and the chocolate.
What the hell?
Sorry, I think it's very
That
funny.
is very funny. All right, all three of us ready since Vince isn't here.
Oh, okay.
Never apologize and never explain.
It's
a sign of weakness.
John Wayne.
I didn't say you. Oh.
You could do it.
Well, Tim joined in. Did
I
you hear
know,
him?
I
But there was a
heard him.
delay. I was
But
like,
he
what
can
the-
do that.
Yeah,
It's
he
all
can do
right. I didn't mind.
He's welcome.
He's welcome to that. That's all right. Everybody can hear you. So the theme tonight is in memory of. We just passed Memorial Day yesterday, and we're going to get into some Memorial Day facts and some ideas, some concept on that. And Tim, I was going to ask you. I didn't get a chance to do it. Can you pull up that the death statistics that you posted yesterday for me? I need the meme itself. When you get a chance, buddy, because it was interesting to me. I was late at night, and I hit the like button on it, and I did like it, but then I noted that it did not contain the Civil War, and as we're going to get into some facts, the Civil War is the impetus of Memorial Day. The first Memorial Day was celebrated to remember those who died in the Civil War, and it was interesting to me to note that the only thing on the list was the foreign wars, and not the Civil War. And so I was curious where you got that list, because I know you just grabbed it and threw it up there, and it was nothing on you, but I noted it that I didn't see it. So
I honestly don't know what you're talking about.
you posted on Facebook, and
Okay.
yeah, you posted on
I checked
Facebook.
one of my 7 accounts.
You only have 10.
Well, 13 would be a better number. If you use your husband's old drawers, you know, his underwear, his whitey tighties, to make a tank top, you just might be a redneck.
Oh my God. But you know what? If you put it on the way she has it,
Yeah.
you've got a little pouch in the back that you can store your phone. You don't have to put it in your bra like that.
Yeah.
Oh my
Today's a
God.
chuckle night for me. Sorry,
All right.
peeps.
So, logical fallacy for tonight, and I
Yeah.
had a little bit of a stroke because I was, it wasn't really a rant. I changed the name to just in memory of tonight instead of a Tuesday night rant because I wanted to be in memory of things. But I said shifting the burden of proof. And so I thought this one was the one that closely fit tonight, that we've shifted the burden of proof. And Mom, read the definition, please.
Oh, sure. First time. Also, see argument from ignorance.
Argument from ignorance.
A fallacy that challenge opponents to disprove a claim rather than asking the person making the claim to defend his or her own argument.
Right. And so what I looked at was past the Revolutionary War and the Civil War, every war since then has been a war of we have to go in, or something happens that we have to do something, we have to go in. Why? Because, you know, this happened and we have to go in. And what they've done in those wars is they shifted the burden of proof to people to try and prove them wrong instead of proving their case. I remember
totally backwards.
I remember very vividly Colin Powell standing before the UN telling us that they had weapons of mass destruction, and they had that lying little girl who was one of the diplomats getting up there and saying that she saw the Iraqi soldiers turning over incubators with babies in them, you know, babies in the incubators and kicking them over. Oh, it was a big thing on the news. Come to find out, it was a complete fabrication. The Gulf of Tonkin to get us into Vietnam was a complete fabrication. The Pearl Harbor, you know, we don't ever want to touch that. You know, the Pearl Harbor, how dare you, you know, say that Pearl Harbor. FDR knew that they were going to attack, knew that there was an imminent threat, knew everything was going on. And here's the number one thing about Pearl Harbor. Everybody says it was the famous phrase from FDR, if you pull up the audio of him talking, this unprovoked attack of the Empire of Japan. You cut off all of their natural resources throughout the Pacific. You cut off all of their oil, all of their coal, and Japan as a nation did not have those natural resources in and of themselves to fuel their own war machine. So when you cut off their oil, guess what? You poke the bear, you dumbasses. But we weren't involved in the war at that point, right? They had to do a whole bunch of legal wranglings or hoops to be involved in the beginning of World War II. We couldn't officially be involved because we didn't have a declaration of war and the country didn't support it. We were very isolationist. We just got through World War I 20 years earlier, or 25 years earlier, and nobody wanted to go into war, right? And
herein lies my concern about what you're talking about California and China, because this country traditionally rallies behind the sitting president when we're in time of war.
Yeah.
So if they create that here on the homeland, which has never happened, you know, people will have a tendency to rally behind this fucking asshole that we have in
the former
Washington.
vice president.
Yeah. I'd rather call him a fucking asshole.
Well, appreciate
I think
that.
it fits better.
I just wanted to give him an official title,
Yeah.
and I'm not giving him the one he's stolen. So, anyways, we'll get into more of that as we go along. But I wanted to talk about that idea of I thought that one was the best out of our list that fit the logical fallacies of shifting.
So let's talk about it for
Yeah.
a minute, okay? The
Yep.
fallacy that challenge opponents to disprove a claim. So, in other words, I bring my stuff to you and I say, this is what it is.
Right.
You know, I've got 10 cookies in that bag.
Right.
And I'm willing to share 5. Are you an opponent wanting my 10 cookies? And you have to
No,
get
no.
you
What it
have
would
to
be
get
is-
you have to disprove my claim.
What
that
it would be
there's-
is
yeah, help me out here.
you would come in and say, I have 10 cookies in that bag.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you do? Yeah, prove me wrong. Well, can I open the bag? No. Can I touch the bag? No. Can I shake the bag? No. I have 10 cookies in that bag, and you have to prove me wrong. What? Unless I do a forensic investigation, I can't prove you wrong. But the bottom line is, you're the one putting forth the initial statement.
Right. I'm
that
the
you
person making the
If
claim.
you're going to come in and say there's 10 cookies in the bag, you would open the bag and say, here are the 10 cookies.
Yes.
Right?
Right. Absolutely.
And so that's the shifting the burden of proof to the other person.
How is that possible when I have the facts? I got the cookies.
It's just like, well, again, you're
Right.
asking me to disprove you when you've made the statement that is in question. You're asking me to argue with you or disprove your statement when you haven't backed up your statement.
I have a solution to the whole thing. We just bring in a portable X-ray system, and we will shoot a picture of it
You know,
right there.
I'll show you a solution.
Oh, she's not into fallacies. She's just going to show you the fucking cookies.
Yeah.
Count them up. There's looks like 7 in this one.
Oh, shit. There might be more than 10.
Oh,
But there's 10 in here. I did not lie.
Well,
and I
there's
did
Is it
say
at least
that I
there's
would
10.
share half.
There's at least 10. But
Exactly.
that's the idea of the burden of
14.
proof is they say, you know, the Gulf of Tonkin, that was a real event that happened, you know?
With documented information.
Correct. And then you go, I don't
So
think
you-
that happened. And they go, I'm going to wait till you stop fucking with the bag.
Sorry. So they don't get out their cookies and show what happened?
No.
So they're
It's only now that
the
this-
history?
It's only now that it's been declassified, and we know that they didn't, that there was no Gulf of Tonkin event. It was a completely fabricated event.
Somebody just shot a gun or something out there.
There's been booms going
Oh,
on there.
fireworks.
Yeah, they've been booming
I
fireworks.
forgot.
Yeah.
It's this unofficial start of summer, so people get rambunctious.
Yeah, I love it.
Memorial Day sets it off.
There was a whole bunch during Memorial Day during the evening after everybody took off. It was
really?
I heard at least a dozen. There's 2 right
There's
there.
another one.
Must be dusky. Yeah, the burden of proof. They don't want to prove their case themselves. They try to force you into a position of proving them wrong. And it's appropriate for tonight because of the wars that we've been lied into. And I don't discount the sacrifice of honorable men in those wars, but I can still say that in fact, I've talked with so many Vietnam veterans, let alone Iraq War and Afghanistan, that came back so disillusioned and so angry that they went to fight and were told this is for freedom and this is for defending America, and they come back and go, nah, it was all bullshit, you know.
You talking about Vietnam?
Enduring freedom, the Iraq War, the Afghanistan War. I've talked to multiple people that come back and said it was bullshit. I've even talked to other people that served in. I've got a buddy that served in the Coast Guard for a number of years, and I said we've talked about the war on drugs and how many drugs they've seized and everything like that. And I've invited him to the show, but he is a extreme first shifter. Like he gets up at 3 a.m. to go to work. And so I said, dude, you got to come on a Sunday afternoon. I'll cook. We'll hang out and we'll do just a show where I interview you. And he's willing to do that. We just haven't set it up. But he's talked about how much it was just bullshit. Like if they didn't come across a vessel that had like multiple kilos of cocaine or pot, they didn't even bother because it wasn't a score that was worth it. So I'm like, when you're doing it, dude, did anybody really think it was making a dent or doing anything? He's like, no, we were just doing a fucking job.
And I'm going to just say that that's also with the scams that are going over the internet where
Yeah.
they're scamming people out of money.
Yeah.
And you go and report it, and they go, "Well, that's not enough money to worry about.
Well, what they do in
We're not going to do any money. We're not going to do any investigating because it didn't hit this
threshold.
$1 million or whatever they consider as their
What have
line.
they done? What have they done in California and New York? In certain cities in California and New York, they made the line $900. Anything below $900, we're not even going to respond. So people walk into stores. I've watched multiple videos. They walk into stores and they steal $850 worth of stuff, walk out, come back a few hours later, steal another $850 worth of stuff.
I love it. I saw a report. They had a video from the store cameras, a jewelry store in New York, where the staff there took a totally different approach to this. They had these 3 guys come in and do a smash and grab, and the entire staff beat the living shit out of them and threw them out. They were all well trained in the martial arts, and they just kicked ass. And it was like, all right, that's great.
Isn't that just correct me if I'm wrong, Patrick. I'm just going to speculate here. Isn't that a level of self-defense?
Kind of, yeah.
Did they bear some arms? It may have been some muscular arms, but they bore arms, right?
Well, if you're a black belt, your hands become lethal weapons.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those guys actually defended themselves.
Yes.
So if somebody comes in, I picked up today. It came out a new 4K version of The Untouchables with Kevin Costner and Sean Connery.
Yeah.
It just came out, so I had to upgrade from my DVD to the Blu-ray 4K. Ooh, that was a good boomer. I don't know if anybody heard that on the recording, but they're blowing shit up out there. Anyways, I upgraded to that, and so when I got here, I just threw it on in the background while we're listening. But there's that famous line, and it's the only movie that that Sean Connery won and was nominated for and won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. But the one line he says there, he said, if they show up with a knife, you pull out a gun. And if they send one of yours to the hospital, you send one of theirs to the morgue.
Yeah.
You know? And then the famous scene where he gets shot down, he says the guy comes in sneaking in with a gun or with a knife in his hand, and he pulls up this, sawed-off shotgun, and he's like, just like a wop to come in here to show up to a gunfight with a knife. And he chases him out the door, and as he's going out the door, then the guy up in the balcony with the gun shoots him down. So it's he did it. There was another guy with a gun. But the whole point is that you meet force with force. That's self-defense. If somebody comes at me with a knife, I have the right to equal defense. Yeah. If they come at me with a gun, I come back to equal defense. Yeah. Let's switch to that. Go ahead and switch, Tim. You're in control. Switch it up, buddy.
There
There
is.
you go. Yeah.
The
So the Untouchables.
Untouchables.
Yeah, that's the 4K. The 4K. You know what I actually got? So he pulled up the 4K HD that was available, that came out today. I actually got the Steelbox. There's a challenge for you, Tim. Find me the Steelbox cover of the 4K digital. Now he's gonna find it real
I've
quick.
seen the mouse go down.
And he's in Oklahoma controlling shit. We're getting good on that. We're getting better. So he's controlling that. We'll see if he finds the 4K version, the 4K Steelbook. The Steelbook. I love the Steelbooks because of the metal cases for the Blu-rays. And I don't like doing a lot of digital downloads. I like having physical copies of things, whether it's music or it's movies, whatever it is. I like the physicality of it. I like a lot of memorabilia. And so when they had come out with steelbooks for things, I like to grab it. Anyways, so we finished up our discussion a little bit about logical fallacies. So I want to rip through some of these. Oh, there it is.
Oh.
It's the one with the real big cover. I'll mouse over it real quick. Do you switch the channels? It's this one right here. See that, everybody? See that one?
Yep, with the
I'm gonna
gold
click
on it.
With the gold on it. That's the cover of the 4K that I have. So the other one, the Untouchables with De Niro playing Capone with a cigar, that's the sleeve that goes over it. But the metal right there where you see the Untouchable and the gold, That's the actual 4K.
So 4K
4K. So when
TV?
we watch
Are all your TVs 4K?
they are 4K.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and do a man cave shot. And if you look there's a couple of the TVs. There's a thing. And then if we do,
Gotta switch it up.
oh, I thought I did.
Nope.
There you go.
I hit the button, but it didn't go.
Blame it
I
on the
got mine.
button. Yeah.
Huh?
Blame it on the button.
Tim
That
says
was me. We
Tim's.
double tapped it.
Oh, it's
Oh,
Tim.
oh, we
Off
hit it at
with
the
your
same
head.
time. All right,
Oh,
hit the
yeah.
rail shot, Tim. Hit the rail shot. I will not touch a
rail?
fucking thing.
Rail. Copy rail.
Rail shot. Okay, so then that screen right there where you see the This Is My Brain logo, that is a 4K 3D projector, an Epson 4K 3D projector. Because I like to watch hockey and
Not the logo at the
movies.
bottom of the screen, the one in the middle of the room.
Yeah, no, right over
You
there.
see a logo at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, yeah, no, that's not it.
We
He's
watched a
saying that they
baseball
hear the
game. How were
logo.
those Tigers in Minnesota doing?
You know what? They were up 4-0 then when we started the show. The Tigers in Minnesota, but we'll see. And Minnesota's a pretty good team, so see them beaten. Patrick and I are both quite disappointed with the MLB in general because of the bullshit that they pulled last year about the Atlanta All-Star game.
All-Star game.
Yeah.
Switched it to
Because we're going
Denver.
to support George Floyd.
and then the funny part about all that is
As
that
they went to the pennant.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into some of the news, and I want to get some takes before we get into the Memorial Day. How's everybody doing on drinks, Patrick? You
Getting a little low, but
Getting a little-
I will
you
deal
gonna
with that in a
endure with the
minute.
water?
Yeah.
I know Grandma and I brought up our slushies.
Yeah.
Hey, I never found that death toll meme. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, buddy, I'll pull it up. I got it over here.
No, I think now that we have Tim on audio, we should really get him on video as well, so that he can be part of the
Hey,
program.
yeah, Tim, we could
It
put
lags
you in the
audio
corner.
stream.
Yeah, it lags the audio stream.
Oh.
We'll just have to hear him in our ears, and he'll be the guy from the. I'm hearing from the booth right now. That's what you got to do, Patrick. You
There
got
you
to
go.
touch your ear and go. Oh, I'm hearing from the booth right now that. Now we're getting quite professional when they can't hear the guy talking in our ear.
Yeah.
This just coming in. This news just breaking right now. I'm hearing. Yes. Okay, we're gonna go to that video right
Are
now.
shorter than the average bear.
Yes.
So a couple things that I wanted to get into. First of all, we are starting to see some traction in the elections. Whoops, that's not the one I want to go to. I want to go to that one. I got to change the button. We're starting to see some election things starting to filter through. Okay, so this election, an election in Compton, California, for city council has been overturned due to the discovery of fraud. The election fraud. Now, this is the crazy thing, okay? When you scroll down and you read it,
Yeah.
is it was originally the one guy lost 855 to 854. So the incumbent won by one vote. Then they went back and they disputed it, okay? And they found 4 illegal ballots that disqualified it, and the court ruled that the rightful winner was the other guy, 854 to 851. So the guy that thought he won by one vote actually lost by 3. And even in this is from Breitbart, and it says right here, this line, even voter fraud is rare, but it does happen, and it can overturn the election results. So this was a runoff from 2021. Where's it at? Right. I had the number. It's right there. So the contentious primary of Galvan and Spicer advanced to a runoff in June 2021. So June 2021, and it's just being decided on just before June in 2022. So a years of wrangling. And this guy that had 4 illegal, and I'm not saying that he was the one that put forth the illegal, but there were illegal ballots cast in his favor. And he was able to be in office for a year. I want to see the ramifications of how that's going to play out with, what legislation did he push forth? It's just city council, but at the same time, it's something. And you're talking about a legitimate election that was adjudicated through the courts and found to be fraudulent and changed the outcome. And there are a lot of things going on right now to change the outcome. I honestly didn't want Donald Trump to win a lot of court battles initially. Not because I don't think that the election was stolen, but because it would shorten his second term. Now, if he starts winning court battles now, and ultimately his victory is overturned with less than 2 years on that term, he can run in 2024.
Okay.
You follow?
Yeah.
So that's kind of my take on it. But there's some movement on the election stuff. Any thoughts on the elections, Patrick?
But will he end up in a courtroom like this one that,
You
just
work on isolating my voice to your monitor, Jeremy?
just vindicated Hillary Clinton's attorney, I just, I have zero trust in our legal system right now,
Absolutely, as we should.
in our government, and in physicians, you name it. I just don't trust any of them.
I hear you. Talk, Tim. I'm trying to isolate you.
I have an opinion on this Donald Trump election and Bible prophecy correlation.
Oh, that you wanted to share with me while everybody's talking?
Yeah.
All right, let me switch
I
to...
don't want you to have dead air, so make sure some mom's talking or something.
Yeah,
Right.
I hear
I
ya.
appreciate that.
Yeah, I think that we really need to be, personally, I need to be really mindful that we don't put a hopeless vision out there. That nothing can be stopped and these people are going to get away with everything. And,
Right.
it's really, yes, a lot of horrendous things happen. And throughout the history of the world, horrendous things have happened. People have been taken down and everything. And I just really think that we need to understand that there is a hope in God. There is a hope and love in our fellow man. And, we need to perpetuate that. That's what we're about, and not be hopeless. My sensitivity is
You're on high alert on that stuff.
I really am. Do not lose hope.
Right.
Grasp on to your friends and your family and the people around you, and share your stories, and really look to God for the answers, because we do not have as of right now, we do not have what I would consider a Polish takeover. You know what I'm saying? We don't have the Hitler coming in and storming the troops in our country right now. I understand we have a problem.
Yeah.
But we are not there yet. And we are setting up to say, let's grab our arms, let's be informed, let's take care, let's share with one another, so that the people, even the people who think Biden is the answer, will see us and hear us with hope.
Right.
And with the truth. Because I won't back down as far as right and wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? My stand is that, you know what? With God, all things are possible.
We know Biden is an Obama puppet, though.
Yeah, exactly.
We do know Biden is a puppet.
Biden is exactly right.
Biden is
this
something else.
The third term of
even
Obama.
even if
Biden from Ireland.
even if the people
Right.
Who voted left last time decide to vote, they're going to vote conservative. If the elections are fraudulent, and what happened at Coble Hall happens again, we're going to go back down this same path. So it doesn't matter. The only way that's going to change is if the militia shows up and they outnumber the Detroit Police Department 3-1, where there's 3 guys, 1 cop going, you step out of the way or we're going to carry you out of here in a body bag. We're not allowing this to happen.
Right.
Then they will change things around, because these guys, they just cover up the wall, the glass with
Wasn't
papers,
that amazing?
so that you can't see what's going on.
And
Throw
literally-
out all the
observers.
and that. You just
I think it comes down to this. The what we have to look at is that we have to stay vigilant and realize again, and this is a statement that we have to keep making, is the lie will travel around the world twice
Before the truth
gets its pants on in the morning.
Well,
and so it's going to take a long time to catch up, but both are right. It's a balance between looking at the downfall, the current downfall of America, and yet holding out hope. And one of the things that I err on the side of, or look at the side of, is that it is the God-given authority, and people don't understand this. And I need to do some videos on this, and Tim's going to have to help me. But I need to put together some videos. I've been meaning to do a series since the beginning of the year, and I'm still meditating because I don't want to put out anything weak. But I want to put out something solid that people can watch 10 years from now, and find good information, solid information. But a lot of people talk about the free will. We were given free will. We're given free will. Okay, well, you can find some dynamics of that concept in Scripture, but you really can't find it spelled out explicitly that we were given free will. Okay? Now, I do believe that we were given free will. But what you can find explicitly, and one of the reasons that I love the Gospel of John, is there's three main things in the Gospel of John. There is the Word of God, Jesus himself, and this flies in the face of a lot of people who, hold up their Bibles, slam their Bibles on the table and go, this is the Word of God. No, that book, collection of 66 books put together by the Council of Nicaea, where they excluded a whole bunch of other books that I've read that are not bad books. You just have to discern what is man and what is inspired. But either way, that is Scripture, and it labels itself as Scripture, that which is written down by inspiration. But in John chapter 1, right in the verse, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And then verse 14, it says, the Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. The Word of God is not a thing. It's not a book that you put on a shelf. It is the living embodiment. In fact, the word translated in the Greek, word, right there in John chapter 1, and translated word throughout most of the New Testament, is the Greek word logos. And it literally, the definition literally is that which is uttered by a living voice. So how do you take that which is uttered by a living voice and turn it into a book? And if you would study it out, you would find out that Scripture is phenomenal. It's powerful. But in 2 Corinthians, Paul writes, and he says that Scripture, that the letter kills, and it can be any letter, but specifically the letter of Scripture, the letter kills, but the Spirit gives life. And then you go and you look at John, the Gospel of John again, chapters 15, 16, 17, and it talks about how Jesus said, I do not speak on my own, but I speak what the Father tells me. Inspired by the Holy Spirit. I'm paraphrasing, but you can all go study it out for yourself. It's not a mystery. It's plain text. But the problem is most people don't study it. So anyways, I wasn't going in that diatribe, but in the Gospel of John, it talks about the Logos, it talks about the authority of man, and it talks about love. Now, we know about love. That's the biggest thing. For God so loved, right? Love is all over the place in the Gospel of John. We know a little bit about the Logos, but most people miss it. There's multiple times where it states from the beginning, from chapter 1, in the beginning was the Word is with God, and the Word was God, right? Verse 14, and the Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. I'm saying that statement again because when you go to it, then you realize when in one of my favorite passages, I literally typed it out on an old typewriter at one point. I've handwritten it out. I love John chapter 15. I am the vine, you are the branches. It's a gorgeous passage, the whole thing. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit is pruned, and it goes through this. It's awesome. But John chapter 15, thank you. Every branch in me that bears fruit, that beareth not fruit, is taken away, and every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, but it's prunes it so that it be more fruitful. That idea of the Word, the personification is from the beginning is that Jesus was the living voice of the Godhead of God. Okay, that's the first statement that's made. Everything else that flows that is made after that, every statement is predicated on the first. So when Jesus said in chapter 10, chapter 8, chapter 10, I am the bread of life, okay? That's predicated on him being the Word first, being the living embodiment, the voice of God. When he says, I am the vine, you are the branches, in chapter 15 that Tim already pulled up, that is personifying the embodiment of the Word first, then because what do you say? They're even discovering now that trees have a voice. Scientifically, they're discovering that trees have a voice, that plants, that everything in the earth has a frequency and a voice.
And when I go out into it, they clap their hands.
Right. Would you say, Tim? Repeat that in my ear.
And that they respond to sound like
Oh,
music.
absolutely.
Yes.
They respond to music.
Yes.
They're doing tests on more and more tests, not just the rice test. If you do a rice test, and this works, anybody that's ever done it, you do a rice test, you put a jar, you cook one batch of rice, okay? And you take that batch and you divide it in half, and you put one jar, half in one jar and half in another jar, sealed jars, mason jars, okay? And you write hate over one jar and love over the other jar, and you set them side by side in your cabinet. And you walk up to the one jar and you focus your energy on it, and you say, I love you, you're just beautiful rice, you're good rice today, and I thank you for being good rice. And you look at the other jar and say, I hate you, you're just pathetic, you're rotten rice. And you watch, and the rice that you proclaim love over stays fresh, and the rice that you speak hatred over will mold and become putrid.
You can do that over house plants too.
You can do that. I walk up to my house plants here.
Yeah,
and
you
I
can
speak-
do it right over your house plants.
Yep, everything. And they're finding out, I was getting to this, they're finding out that water, they're finding out right now that water
Yeah.
is not only I've been listening to a number of podcasts recently where the guests are getting on there, and they're just, some of the stuff, and Vince and I were talking about it. They're talking about this one guy, he installs spiral piping throughout his house. And water, and what they found out is that
Spiral piping.
water doesn't like right angles. Water likes
So
to
you
flow.
have to do the left angles? Well, I don't
No.
understand.
It's just saying, so instead of a pipe coming in and dropping down, the pipe would come in and it would
Oh.
spiral down until it straightens out.
Oh, it doesn't like that hitch.
And it was amazing when we were on the fishing trip.
That's interesting.
That was one of the things that I paid attention to. Patrick, I don't know if you recall that. And I could ask Vince and Ken about it. But I watched, and some of the spots that were the best places for us to fish, you had this water moving 20, 30 miles an hour. This water's just flowing. But then it hits a spot and it cuts back, and there's this area right next to this fast-flowing water. And we
Where the
watched it.
fish are.
We watched it where Ken, I think the last day we were fishing, he put it's not a bobber type fishing area, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he threw a bobber on there and threw it in, and we watched this bobber. You could watch your line too, but the bobber was more demonstrable, right? And we watched the bobber go down and out about 15 feet, come back about 5 feet, and then come back up that 15 feet, and then come over about 2-3 feet, and hit the flow of the water, and then come back around, and it would just churn. And what I saw and observed again was water doesn't like these right angles. Water likes to flow and churn and turn. And these guys that I was listening to, they were talking about how water doesn't like right angles. It likes to flow. And that actually, the guy on there, he said, listen, he said, it sounds crazy to some people.
That's weird.
He said, but I put these circular, and he says, simple. You take copper that is, the flexible parts of copper. And he said, I turn it into these almost like a funnel thing. So it starts out with a wider circle, and then it goes down, and then it straightens out and drops the water. And he said, I put those on my shower heads. I put those coming into the house. I put those everywhere that I can find a spot to put those in. And he said, I feel better. He said, I installed those in the water.
The energy in the water
The
feels
energy in the
better.
water coming over me feels better. And it's amazing because when you start to go down that path of finding out that the guy, there was a Japanese scientist, and he was doing research on water. And if you've ever looked into water at all, water has a memory. Water has these phenomenal properties of it. In fact, water in ice becomes crystals. Mm-hmm. And that has its own properties because you can take crystals and smash them together and produce light just by smashing crystals. It starts to be amazing when you talk about water. And in John, Jesus as the Word personifies as the bread of life, water as the tree, and all these different things that's predicate on that. But the whole point I was getting to is the other third part that's over and over again is that Jesus is recorded in the Gospel of John as saying, so that you may know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to do this. And then he would heal somebody or cast out a devil or do something, right? And he kept personifying that so that you may know the Son of Man has authority. And so people talk a lot about free will, but they don't realize that free will is a concept that we've gleaned from Scripture, but it's not there. It's not written out. You have free will. That's why you were created. You know, I heard that from the pulpit. Yeah, go ahead. Yes. Can you find the one that says, what is that, King James? So Tim's pulling those up. So you the Son of Man. It may not come up as Son of Man has authority in King James, but I know, there it is. Okay. When you look up that word authority, it'll be translated as different words throughout John. Yes, that's good. So Tim's pulling that up. We can throw that on screen a little bit as you're doing that. So that's what Tim's pulling up there, the Son of Man. John chapter 5. When you've got that, where it says authority, when you say has given him authority, you got to look up that word authority in the whoops, we cross-referenced there, buddy. If you look up that word authority there in John chapter 5 in Blue Letter, yeah, if you do Blue Letter Bible on that word authority, it'll come up as multiple other words in that from that passage, and it'll lead you to a whole bunch in John. Anyways, the point is that people are looking at this and saying, well, God created us with a free will. Okay, I get the concept. I understand what you're saying. But the reality is God created us with authority. And when we don't stand up in our God-given authority in the earth, then we allow pedophiles, we allow corrupt government, we allow mass shootings, we allow these things. Now, we can, as an individual, make ultimate changes in those situations. But we collectively, as a group, as what does it say in Scripture about Babylon, or not Babylon, the Tower of Babel, right? It says, if as one people speaking one language they've begun to do this, nothing will be impossible for them. So when you agree as one people, speaking the same words, right? Logos again, speaking the same thing, utter voice. There is an atmospheric pressure that begins to build and change the outcome of things. So what our agenda is, my agenda is to influence people with my words, to get them to see the truth, not influence them to see my idea of the truth, but to see the truth, because I'm still growing in it. And if you don't get that fundamentally, that wherever you're at in your journey, that all you can do is influence people to continue to pursue the truth and not agree with you. I don't want you to agree with me. I want you to move towards truth. Right. And if you're moving towards truth and I'm moving towards truth, then we will agree. But I'm not trying to get you to agree. I'm trying to get you to move to truth. And truth is a personal walk. But if we walk that out, we get to a place where your authority and my authority and your authority begin to come together, unified. In fact, one of the scriptures that I love in the New Testament, Paul writes, and he says, let us endeavor to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. The unity of the Spirit. Well, what is the Spirit? That's the Greek word pneuma, and it literally means divine means breath, and we've ascribed it to mean divine breath, but it literally pneuma. It's where we get pneumatics. If you have a pneumatic tool, it's that. Why would they go? How is pneumatic spelled with a P? PN, pneumatic. If you look up the word pneumatic, it comes with a P, PN, right? Where does that come from? It comes from Greek, all right? And that Greek word was pneuma, and it actually has that P pi on the beginning of it, okay? Mm-hmm. And so we get that, well, switch to it, buddy. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 3. Endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. So that word spirit there, translated spirit, literally means pneuma. It's the breath, the utterance. And it goes back to the word. And there's a whole depth of that. I could teach. I love teaching on that stuff. But anyways, my whole point is that if we walk in our authority and we speak truth, now we can speak lies, and we come together and be united to speak lies, and that's what they're expecting. The controllers of this world and the elites, that's what they're expecting. Because here's the thing about it. We talk about free will.
Because that's how that's their mode of operation.
Correct. And here's the thing, they don't care about your free will.
They don't care about you at all.
And their idea of free will is not a concept. They know that God gave man the authority in the earth. Okay? You and I have been given authority in the earth, but we've been given authority over our circle. Not over each other, but over our circle. Now, if we come together in unity, then our circle grows because it's a combined circle, right? Wherever two or three are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst, right?
Right.
Cord of three strands is not easily broken.
Right.
So it's us coming into agreement. That's why we have such a difficulty in we have conflicts and we have disagreements, especially in the conservative libertarian movements, because as we move towards truth and we touch into truth, there is such an onslaught and attack to keep us from coming together in unity in something that's moving towards absolute truth.
Right. There's an offense.
Yeah.
It's in us.
Right.
That we don't want the truth to get in because we don't want to expose.
I've listened to so many people that have reached a certain level of revelation or understanding the truth. Mm-hmm. And they start to get arrogant. Not because they're trying to be arrogant, but because they get to a place where they go, I've understood this. And then they start to look at other people and go, well, you don't understand this yet. Mm-hmm. And they look down on people. That's a big church attitude where they get arrogant. And I'm like, dude, you've got a lot of truth to figure out. Why don't you help somebody to figure out the truth? But my point is about this authority is that when we come together in our authority and we agree on purpose, on purpose and in purpose, we come together in our authority, we can change our communities, we can change our atmospheres, we can change our things. Now, it's going to take time because for a long time, we've agreed in our authority to allow destruction, to allow depravity, to allow decay, to allow evil. What's the script? It's not even a scripture, but what's the saying that comes forth? All that evil needs to prosper is for good men to be silent.
To do nothing.
To do nothing. Why? Because we're giving our tacit authority. We're giving our approval, and we have the authority.
But there's a lot of that's going on. That's why the statement I had a little while ago about the militia and what's going on at Cobo Hall. A lot of good men sat around and did nothing while the evil just took over and ran amok.
You're exactly right.
Unless the good men step up and say, no, this is not happening again.
And that's and you're looking at that final outcome, and you're looking at the deeper intent. And what I'm calling us to look at is that heart motivation of realizing before we get to the militia, the hearts need to be in alignment with truth. You know, that mom's heart is to say, no, I come against that. Absolutely. But as one person, unless you combine your authority with a whole group, then it is just a single voice, and there's a multitude of people that are going along because they're getting welfare checks and they're getting all sorts of handouts. They're getting all sorts of things that give tacit authority. They're giving their authority away.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
Because that's the proclamation in Genesis. When God created man, he said, I give you dominion over the earth, over the birds of the air, the flocks, over everything, the fish of the sea and everything that creeps on the ground. Okay? Never gave man dominion over another man, but he gave him dominion over everything else. But that's also within his circle, his kingdom, his dominion there. So we have dominion over our area. And what I find is most people don't, long before they want to say a lot of stuff instead of taking dominion over their own heart and their own attitudes.
And their own dominion.
Their own dominion.
Their own kingdom.
Right.
It's like
so-
that's something that
Yeah.
I am learning to guard my kingdom because
A 2-shot, please. The 2-shot.
a 2-shot because mom's not. For me, I have to rule my kingdom
Absolutely.
with the Lord, and I were ruling because I know that if I don't, I can be bombarded with things that will take me down.
Right.
Because Satan, that's his game.
Right. Well, that's the thing
Kill,
too.
steal, and destroy.
Right. And that's what I keep saying about that is people want to control other people. Anytime that your motive is to control somebody else's activity or operation, that is perversion.
Right.
But when you stand up in your authority,
Right.
in your opinion,
Right.
I have my one buddy here, and he says, he's been around for a good 6 months now, hanging out. He was a friend, but now he's really become entrenched in hanging out here. And he come over the one day, and he's looking, and he goes, "Do you ever close the work trailer back here?" I said, he goes, "I'm amazed." He said, "I lock my truck up all the time. I do this, I do that." I said, "Okay." I said, "Is it?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's a little bit of force of habit and everything like that." I said, "I understand it. I do."
I
said,
my car.
But I've been at this, I've been taught this for 35 plus years to take dominion over that which is mine.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I have not had a single thing stolen from me in 30 plus years.
Praise God.
The one time that I thought something was stolen, it fell out of the back of my truck.
Nice.
The one time that I've had, my children have had, it's funny, my children have had things stolen in the house that I was in charge of, but it was their thing. None of my stuff wasn't touched. And people go, "Well, eventually it'll happen." No.
No, in Jesus'
When
name, I have
you've
authority
driven with
over
me.
this.
You've driven with me. Patrick's even driven with me. When I go down the road and I see in my mind's eye, in my spirit, a deer jumping out in front of me, what do?
Slow down.
Well, I generally let off the gas a little bit, but number one, I go, no, I cancel that assignment. And how many times on the fishing trip where we're traveling either to the camp or traveling around and touristing, did you hear me say, "No, I cancel that. I speak protection over my truck and over the passengers"? I said it multiple times.
Oh yeah, I've had deer come up, and it was like the Holy Spirit just said, "Slow down."
Yeah.
And I come up over the hill, and here comes this deer right across, and I went, "Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord."
Exactly. And you know why? Because we were given authority
Yep.
over the livestock, over the everything that creeps on the ground. And you know what? The more you practice it, the more it becomes a viable reality in your life.
That
Now, if
authority extends to running for office like school board.
Yes, that authority does extend to running for office like school board. But the more you operate in that, the more you become comfortable with that. So I don't hesitate now. There's
No,
been
I don't
times
either. It's
we literally
on my lips.
we had an opportunity to hold church services in a school building in Brighton, a former school, and they had multiple break-ins, they had vandalism, they had all sorts of stuff. I was given the opportunity, I was asked to come and do church services there after I did a presentation, and Bubby has arrived, and the entire 5 months that we held services in that building, there was not a single break-in, there was not a single act of vandalism, and 2 days after we left, they had a major break-in, multiple windows smashed, all sorts of damage done. While we were there, nothing happened. Now people say, "Well, that's coincidence." No. From the moment I walked in there, I took authority because I was given dominion over that area, and I took authority. I had several $1,000s worth of music equipment. I had one of my projectors, one of my expensive projectors up there to do church service, to put the words and stuff up on the screen. I had cameras in there. I had woodworking equipment because I built a whole stage in there,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
and nothing was touched the entire time we were there. And people say, "Well, that's just coincidence." No, I've been taught for 35 years by the Lord how to walk in my authority. And the problem that's going on right now in this country is people need to get this, is that as long as we are not speaking up, not walking in our authority, then we are tacitly, we are implicitly giving our authority over to nefarious, demonic activity.
Which there's plenty of that.
Exactly.
My only request would be that come up with a better word than dominion.
Because of that. Well, they use those words to pervert stuff.
It has negative connotativity.
Yeah.
Connotativity. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Tim, give me back a chat. We probably need to catch up in chat. But that's why they do that. That's another reason they do that, Patrick, is they use words like dominion so that they can pervert it. And I was even listening to a really good podcast the other day.
That is up.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, ice crystals differentiate between love and hate. You're exactly right, Jeff. They use those words, and I was listening to a podcast the other day, and I've touched on this. There was a guy years and years ago that I listened to. He's since passed away, but he used to break it down. He's like, love or live backwards is evil. God backwards is dog. There's a whole bunch of words in the English language that are a perversion. And I was listening to a very good, very well read scholar the other day giving a lecture about it, and he said that the English language was not necessarily created, but it has been manipulated to be a language that is the reverse of ancient Hebrew. Ancient Hebrew you read from right to left. English you read from left to right. Yeah. And you find so many things in English that are a perversion, the language itself, or if you read it backwards. And he was pointing out, he's like, when you play Clinton or Obama backwards in their speeches, I mean, Obama's the big one of recent memory. When Obama was doing his speech and he would say, "Yes, we can," when you play that back, it's "Thank you, Satan." I mean, literally, there's no mistaking it. So, "Yes, we can," and you play it backwards, it's "Thank you, Satan." It was amazing. And they said that when they would play back Clinton's clips from when he was running for office, it would basically say, I'm just an empty suit. I'm just an empty suit." Whatever his phrase was that he was using. And so it's very interesting, the power of words. And if we don't stand up and consciously speak into our atmospheres, into our environments, and affect what's going on around us, then we're allowing everything that happens to us. And so I know Patrick's had a rough week, and I deal with that too. I woke up with you always have things coming against you. But I have to get up and confess my anxiety, confess my struggles, confess any of those things, and then take dominion over them, take authority over them. I like to use the word authority, but that's the word that's used in Genesis is dominion. But I take my authority over that, and then they'll come out with a fucking machine called authority, to run the elections. Oh, authority 2.0, running the elections now. No, get that shit out of here. But that's the whole point of that is that people keep talking about free will, and they keep talking about spiritual warfare, and people are not talking about their God-given authority, and they're not talking about it in the realm of their own personal responsibility. What's my ability to respond? My responsibility. What is my circle? Don't talk to me, and that's what the left loves to do. They like to point a finger at everybody else. Well, you need to do this, and you need to do that, and you need to. No, the downfall of the right, the right-leaning people, the conservative, the libertarians, whatever you want to fucking call, the people that want, one of their downfalls is we just want to be left alone to do our own thing. Well, the people on the left don't want to do that. They want to control you.
Yep.
And so that's how they operate.
And if you don't start standing up for it,
yeah,
and guarding your authority, your realm, then you're going to have issues.
I'm here.
Yay, Vince.
Vince has arrived.
Vincente.
Did you get your car all fixed, buddy? You need some ice?
And with that, we
Right
need
here.
to do the lawn pour.
Oh, yeah. Patrick, you need a refill, buddy?
I'm going to go get that, yep.
Are we good for a long pour over there, Tim? Do we have that audio? Can I do it?
You guys don't have enough ornaments.
I'm going to try it and see if the long pour works. Oh, the long pour audio works. Excellent. Yeah, fill me up. Thank you, Mom. Oh, it's a long reach for the long pour.
Jeremy, I
Yes, sir.
pulled up a YouTube video that has a reversal of Yes We Can. We
Okay.
can use it in a future show, but I don't know if we can play from audio from the tower on the YouTube without getting in trouble.
I think we could because it's not a direct thing.
It's queued up to play Yes We Can, Yes We
Okay.
Can, Yes We Can, and then the reversal.
Buddy, if you wanna kick it on because it's is there a copyright thing or some shit like that?
We watched The Untouchables earlier.
Okay, let's do
We're
it.
already
Yeah.
shadow banned. You might as well just take a turn.
Yeah, we're already shadow banned.
We are.
Oh, of course. I'll get on here and it'll show so many views, and I'll come on the next day and it'll be half. Oh yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Tim.
Is that the tower? No,
These
that's
for
the
me.
table.
That's table. I can hit the tower button if you hit play.
Those was on there.
Yeah, hit tower.
All right. So here's Obama.
I don't know how loud it's going to be.
Okay.
Yes, we can. Yes,
that
we
coming
can. Yes, we can. Thank you, say. Thank you, say. Thank you, say. Thank you, say.
Wow.
That's fucking Obama. Now, who came up with his slogan?
Ain't that trippy?
That is a trip, dude. Yeah, Tim's saying in my ear, ain't that trippy? Yeah, that is a trip, dude. And that's what we're talking about is the English language is you've got to be careful and you've got to walk in it. I was hearing somebody rant and rave the other day on I think they called in Alex Jones. Might have been Owen Shore, but they call in Alex Jones. You got audio over there, Vince?
Yeah, it's a little loud.
You are what number are you B?
Vince, can you hear Tim in your
Turn B down, Ma.
I can see big.
Is it, what one are you? B?
B. B, 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 B. You turned me up really loud on my mic.
How's that?
B, 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 B,
How's
B,
that?
B, 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 B.
Too much? Just right?
Oh yeah, you should be.
Does it sound louder?
Uh-uh.
I feel like my mic's really loud.
No, you're good. You're good. Hey, your mic sounds great.
Are you loud in your own ear?
Yeah.
Say it again.
You sound great on stream.
Sounds
Vince.
great on the stream, buddy.
Perfect.
Okay. I'll get over it.
You want me to turn you down some more?
No.
Okay.
good.
All right.
Are you sure?
But anyway, so that's the idea of looking at authority, and it's been interesting because when we give, people keep saying that we give our free will, and it's less about free will and it's more about authority. We're giving our authority
Gives
because
them
it's,
AFK for 90.
say again.
AFK for 90.
AFK for 90. I don't know. Translate that. I don't know what that means.
Away from keyboard. That next time, don't tell everyone I'm taking a piss.
Oh. Okay. You haven't brought me up to school on all of those phrases. Anyway,
It's
so
like the acronyms. You
yeah.
gotta learn a whole new language.
it is. It's good. So it's again. I was listening to it on Alex Jones, and somebody called in, and they were just going off about the King James version is the only. The problem is because we've gotten away from the King. We got all these other translations. I'm like, dude, if you're not talking about study it in the original Greek and Hebrew, and the Aramaic as far as Daniel and stuff like that, shut up. I just listened to a whole awesome lecture the other day. It was like a 4-hour lecture, and that wasn't the main crux of the lecture, but a big portion of the lecture was talking. I actually listened to it twice about how much they jacked with the King James version because King James was a big Freemason, and they changed the language. They did a bunch of stuff. They even tried to alter the Greek texts to reflect their terminologies. So these people that get on there and go, oh, the King James Version, and we've gotten away from the King James. Dude, if you're not studying it, and Vincent Grandma know specifically, because I've never brought my books out with Patrick, but I got multiple lexicons downstairs, straight up Greek and Hebrew Bibles with literal English translations, but also the Strong's Concordance reference numbers. But then I've got my Greek and Hebrew dictionaries to where you have to literally go. You can't even look up a number. There's no number to look up. You have to read the Greek or Hebrew word and then go find it in the Greek dictionary or the Hebrew dictionary by the lettering in there to find out what the word means and then study it. So when I mention a Greek or a Hebrew word and what the correct translation is, okay, I'm not going to say that I'm a absolute authority and a Bible scholar, because sometimes I'm pulling it out of memory if something pops up. But I'm going to tell you what, this woman knows I am going to be 50 this year. And I bought my first interlinear Greek and Hebrew study Bible when I was 16. When I had my first job, one of the first things I did was buy a Strong's Concordance and a $80, back then, in the late 80s, it was 88, 87, 88. I bought an $80 interlinear Greek and Hebrew Bible along with a Strong's Concordance. The Strong's Concordance used to be this huge red book, burgundy red book, and my interlinear was this beautiful blue book. And I've been studying that stuff for a good 33, 34, 35 years. Okay? Well, let's say 33 years to be safe. All right? I've been studying that. And the only reason I'm studying it that way is so as I had an understanding. Not so I could be smarter than anybody else, because I want to know the authority that I walk in. I want to know what my love walk's supposed to be. I want to know how I'm supposed to, what my purpose is. Not so I can be some brainy scholar and put everybody else down. Fuck that. I want to be the best that I can be. I care about people, but ultimately I don't care what you think. I don't care what is going on with you. I want to be the best that I can be. Now, in being the best that I can be, I'm going to have to encourage the people around me to be the best that they can be. That's part of it. But the bottom line is, I want to be the best me.
You live with yourself.
I live with myself. I got to put my head in my pillow. I can't cheat, steal, and lie my way through life. I've got to operate as best as I can, as honorable as I can. Do I miss it? Yes. But I'm striving towards being the best that I can and not putting anybody else down for choosing less. The only time I ever put somebody down for that is when I look at them and say, you're not choosing to pursue your best purpose. And that's disappointing. That's destructive. That's not a good process in your life. So I had a whole bunch of other news. Any comments on that before we move on?
I was going to say,
I had a huge stack.
so what do you, after having said all of that, so what do you think about that multi-billionaire guy coming out and saying that free will is over?
I think I agree with him 100%.
Ooh, he's dead.
You got him good. I think I agree with him 100% because... Were you listening to the show before you got here? What I was saying was that this idea of free will, the concept of free will, it is in Scripture, the concept of free will, right? But it's been promoted over and over again by the modern church. Well, God created us to have free will. God created us to have free will. Well, when I talk to the Lord about it and then I go and study Scripture, He didn't. He created us to have authority. Now, does free will flow out of authority? Absolutely. But I don't have free will to go kill somebody. Right? And according to Scripture, I don't have authority to go and kill somebody. I have authority over the land, over my livestock, over the birds of the air, the fish of the sea. We had authority over some of the fish we got, right? Not all the fish in the river, but the ones we got. The ones we landed, we had authority over, right? So we have authority, and within authority there is free will, but it's all predicated on personal responsibility. And so when this guru guy, and I've listened to the clips, Vince knows what he's talking about, when he says, free will is over. Well, that all that is a lie to get more and more people to give their tacit authority to somebody who's using that authority. Because remember, your authority and my authority and Patrick's authority and Vince's authority all coming together in unity will begin to change the atmosphere, will begin to affect the environment. So if I can beguile you or coerce you into giving your authority to an agenda that is demonic or that is perverse, but you still go along with it, you will empower something that will bring about your ultimate destruction. And that's what they're trying to do. They don't actually care about free will, but if they can convince you that your free will is over, then they can usurp and use your authority in the earth to have dominion over what they want to control.
There's that word again, dominion.
Right. Don't get hung up on that.
Voting machines?
Yeah. That's what he's saying. He doesn't like that word. So that's the big aspect of it. Is people they don't understand the authority that they have. And so when they say things out, it makes me cringe a lot of times when I hear people say things out of their mouth. Now, I don't visibly cringe most of the time because I've learned to control myself, have authority over myself. But people will say things around me, or I'll hear podcasts, or I'll hear, national people that are speaking, and 90% of what they're speaking is right on the money. And then they'll say a couple things, and I go, "You still don't understand your authority." And I'm still learning my authority, but I've gotten a lot. I grasp a good portion of it, and I operate in it. That's the biggest thing, I had to yell at the bees the other day. They were getting in the table, and I said, "Guys, you can't get in my table. I know there's little holes here, and you want to make nests, but I'm going to have to kill you if you don't find somewhere else to go."
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it's just as simple as that.
But I have more that it's amazing.
If you understand what the Word of God says, He says we have authority.
We have authority.
We're
supposed to take authority. He walked up to a tree, and most people don't even understand that story. Go meditate.
Because they said that the fig tree, if it had leaves, it should have figs, and he walked up to it, and it had leaves but no figs.
Well, it even says in the text that it says it wasn't the season for figs.
Yeah.
And
but it had leaves.
His disciples marveled, and they went, "Why'd you curse it?" He goes, "There wasn't any figs on it." And they're like, "Why'd you curse it?" And I talked to the Lord about it, and I said, "Lord, what about that?" And he said,
it was already done.
He said it was never going to bear figs.
It was already done.
I released the soil from nourishing that dead tree by speaking against it, because they came back the next day and it withered from the roots, and they didn't understand it. Go find that passage, you guys out there, the fig tree withering from the roots that that Jesus talked about,
because
and then really meditated on.
The disciples were really amazed, and they said, "Oh my gosh!"
And
Lord?
they're like. Yeah, and they're also thinking, "Dude, that tree wasn't doing anything to you. Why the hell did you curse it?" They didn't get it.
But it was already done.
But when you go back and you meditated on it from a standpoint of authority, and you have to meditate on it from a standpoint of authority and potential. Do you know that anything that doesn't bear fruit is an abomination to God? Go back and read John chapter 15, right? "I'm the vine, you're the branches. Every tree..." Tim pulled it up. "Every tree that does not bear fruit is cut off," or every branch that doesn't bear fruit is cut off, and every branch that does bear fruit is pruned so that it will be even more fruitful. It's amazing. We've gone. I know Patrick's gone to. You go to an orchard in the fall after the harvest. They hack the shit out of those apple trees. And
well, yeah, because all of the little vines that or limbs that start coming out suck from the main.
They're literally called suckers.
Exactly. So they suck from the main, and so they want to get it all trimmed up. So when the spring comes, they have the healthy. They have the healthy.
Exactly.
Branches, and they have smaller amounts. So they
more
when
fruit.
So when they
we had
harvest,
I had somebody I was talking with the other day. Nice. I had somebody that was not the other day, but a while ago. And I said, "Listen, when they cut down these trees, they cut the shit out of them. They just hack them all down."
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "No, it's only so much." And I'm like, I have arbor books. Okay. I've read this shit. All right. I know what I'm talking about, but I've also seen it in I've seen it in orchards where their reliance upon, they have that's their what do you call it? That's their product. They're selling apples every year.
Yeah, that's
So
their process.
Whatever they're doing, I'm going to pay attention to.
Their process is to do what they're doing.
And I've seen them go through and they literally will cut these apple trees down to where there's 2 or 3 main trunks coming up. A main trunk and 2 or 3 branches.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, their secret's not some fucking Monsanto shit. It's nature.
It is nature. So, anyways,
That's a good point.
where's that? Tim pulled up that passage. Well, he pulled up John 15 again, but he pulled up the other one. What was the other passage? You just had it, Tim. There it is. What book is that? I don't see that. Mark chapter 11. We'll let the people at home see that. So Mark chapter 11, start looking that up.
Yeah, which verse in 11 were you mentioning? You had me in 2 places.
I was having to look up the fig tree the fig tree that withers from the vine, withers from the roots. Is that in that Mark chapter 11?
Could be.
Okay. So you guys study that at home. We got off on a good tangent, a good idea. I want to get into some of these other news articles today and finish it up. But before we do that, we did the long pour. Patrick, what are you drinking tonight, buddy?
I'm drinking scotch. Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker scotch, huh? All right. Good stuff.
It is good stuff.
Vince, you got a Godfather over there?
Yep.
Which is a Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey.
Mixed with Di Serrano.
Mixed with Di Serrano. Grandma, what do you got? You got a...
I got a 3 olives. 3 olives, blueberry vodka on the rocks.
And you swung over to Brighton Market to pick yours up today.
I did. Brighton Market had it in stock. There was more than 2 bottles. I bought 2 bottles, and there was still more than 2 bottles left.
They try to take care of us, and I am sticking with my Di Serrano tonight. I did have a nice glass of a couple glasses last night of I like to do the Washington apple, the Crown apple.
Royal.
Yeah, the Crown apple. It's called a Washington apple. It comes in a can, but I do a shot of Crown apple on the rocks, and then I pour that over top of it and mix that all up, so I get a little bit more potency. What were you drinking? Were you drinking Johnny Walker last night when we were doing ribs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the same thing.
Are you taking a little break from the Sexton?
I am.
Yeah. That's some potent stuff.
I like Sexton. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's Irish whiskey. Irish single malt whiskey.
Yeah. That's some good stuff. We had a good time
Microphone to you, please, Pat.
in the cabin. So it is good that everybody can hear you.
Johnny
okay.
Walker's my standby. That's kind of my go-to.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. So everybody's good with their drinks. So let's cheers to a good. I want to get into some Memorial Day stuff, but I got to cover a couple of these quick items, and we'll move forward.
I got the other glass, by the way.
Yeah, the Moulin Labe. Don't tread on me. They're gorgeous.
These are
These
like-
gorgeous glasses.
Yeah, they're like a third of the
So-
size bigger.
Alex Jones went
You
and did it.
almost didn't, because I almost had it
Oh,
in my
yeah.
hands.
But
But
you
then
did
I
the-
went to Schuler's.
Yeah, you did the Common Sense one, right?
I did.
Common
that.
sense is not so common?
Common sense is not so common.
And Patrick went with the Phantom.
Overshot for the
Phantom Feast.
Show it again.
Going for the overshot.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody. Is that for the toast?
Yeah.
Oh, we got a toast again.
Uh,
Tim, you gotta be on. You gotta be on. We gotta get you.
we got it. Make sure we notice the cookies in the middle of the table. That's in case
cookies.
Patrick gets out of control.
Yeah, Patrick gets a little feisty. We gotta.
Haven't had to have one yet.
I know you're doing really good. Vince and I already had one, and today he got 3 on the sly.
Oh, did he come steal them? All right,
No,
so
Grandma took him over there.
He's allowed.
Grandma took him over. I offered.
He's a little guy. He needs to have sweet stuff.
I know.
yeah, as long as he eats his dinner.
I do good with him.
Dinner. What's that? That's dinner right there for a little
Yeah.
thing.
Did you guys eat already, or did you get some of that?
He had some
skewers.
chicken that he ate with Alan Morgan from the butcher.
Oh, nice.
good.
Smoked.
Over there, the butcher on 59.
I'm not sure which one.
I don't know if they'd agree with my cussing, but we need to get more of those type of sponsors of local people. Then we got to get our local audience. All right, I got to get some of this news, and then we're going to get into Memorial Day. I really wanted to get in. I was excited about it, so I got to cut into a few of these today.
What are you talking about?
I gotta point this out, and we're gonna point out real quick and move on. Top doctors told the New York Times that transgender swimmer Leah Thomas still has an unfair advantage over biological females, despite the athlete having undergone testosterone therapy. Suppression therapy, and everybody at the table is completely fucking surprised.
No.
No.
But
Not-
is the male genitalia still attached?
The twig and berries are still hanging.
Aw.
Yeah.
Is it securely fastened?
Yes. Even Bruce
Okay.
Bender still has his cock and balls. Okay.
Oh my word.
Yeah. It's all a psyop to get people. I can
Creeped
go back.
out, I
No, I
think.
can go back to the idea of it's to get people to be unstable in their authority, so that you can swoop in and usurp the authority, because the only thing that operates in the earth is authority. And if you don't operate in yours, somebody will come and use it against you, or use it with your tacit approval, with your mindless approval. Okay. Here's another one. Oh shit.
That wasn't it.
That wasn't it. I have to push this button because I don't have the button programmed properly. More than 3,000 diabetics in the UK died because of the COVID lockdown. Oh, but we're not going to blame it on the lockdown. We're going to blame it on, let's see what it says. It is estimated, Telegraph reports that the NHS study found a move to remote healthcare and a reduction in routine care in the first 12 months of the pandemic had absolutely devastating consequences for diabetics, and the result is them being pushed to the back of the queue, in the words of Chris Askew. Back of the Queue by Chris Askew. Anyways, either way, 3,000 diabetics. They're admitting this shit, okay? And when they admit that shit, you got to pay attention. That is on that's Steve Watson. They live Steve Watson and Paul Joseph Watson. They live in the UK, and so they're bringing that article to Infowars. The next one. Here's the big one that I wanted to get into before we get into Memorial Day, because it's predicated on this. This isn't the big one. This is a small one. Here. Has anybody heard this controversy? This is from Infowars too. The president of the European pharma giant charged with falsifying COVID vaccine records and purchasing a fake vaccine passport. So you're not allowed on YouTube to say vaccine. We might even get in trouble and get shadow banned tonight for saying vaccine. But these fuckers over there, the head of the pharmacy, the largest pharmacy group in Spain, lied and said he got the vaccine, never got the vaccine. And this is called Operation Jenner. And it uncovered a vast network of celebrities and elites who paid money to have their names fraudulently entered into the National Immunization. I'm reading. Register despite refusing to be vaccinated. One of the elites, Jose Maria Fernandez. So why does he gotta have 5 fucking names? Sarsafaro. President of the European pharmaceutical giant PharmaMar. The Europe.
The president of PharmaMar.
I am the president of PharmaMar.
Jose.
I am el presidente
Jose.
of PharmaMar.
We started its child company. It's called PharmaMar.
Jose. Jose.
Mar.
I will start a new company called Pharmaless, because we already had one that was
I think we should
PharmaMar.
have another drink.
The Europe-wide investigation named Operation Jenner after Caitlyn Jenner? I don't know. After Edward Jenner, who developed the first vaccine, is considered the father of immunology. Operation Jenner saw 7 people arrested in Barcelona and Madrid in late January. And we're just getting this information. Reportedly, there was 2,200 people involved in fraud, and the investigation is ongoing with more evidence being collected. There are more to go on trial. Now, I wanted to scroll down because it has a list of these people right here. So, Jose Maria, the president of Farmamar, Trinitario, can't even say that name.
Casanova.
Yeah, one of the richest men
Casanova
in Spain.
Frankenstein?
Kiddo Kio is a trap singer in English and Spanish. Anir, rap singer.
Rap singer. Rap singer.
Yeah. And then you can read the names. Anyways, another rap singer, an actress, a soccer player, former volleyball Olympian, former boxer, and a recognized prestigious doxer. All of them.
Celebrities whose opinion don't matter.
Yeah, celebrities whose opinions don't matter, but they're the. But here, I gotta go back to it. Tim, hit number 6.
Pretty sure that all those people are paid to do a specific job, and not to fake all their passports and shit.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Where was it at in the article? Thank you, sir. Here's what it says. They paid thousands of dollars to have their names added to the registry, even though they faked the vaccine or faked getting shots. Okay, all of them. I wanted to read the one line. All of them promoted it. Yeah. All of them faked getting vaccinated and paid to get on the list without getting vaccinated. Okay, and then went out publicly and promoted it. And that's one of the things that they're being charged with is they're not only do they falsify medical reports, but they also promoted false. They lied to the public. There's even laws in this country. I'm waiting for that to come out. We got a whole bunch of other legal wrangling to go through for a long time. But I'm waiting for this. There are literally laws in the books in America of truth in advertising. There's literally truth in advertising laws on the books, and these people have straight up lied. We hear, if I turn on terrestrial radio, about every 20 minutes, there's a fucking commercial sponsored by Pfizer or Moderna, or it's mainly Pfizer, saying that vaccines are safe and effective. And if you want to, and they'll play a little clip of people having fun in the backyard and go, this happy moment brought to you by Pfizer. If you feel sick in any way, don't hesitate. Go get a vaccine. It's safe and effective. You're fucking lying.
It isn't.
And there is truth in advertising. You can be fully prosecuted for lying in that. And I can't wait until the CEOs of these corporations are hung up by their entrails.
I'd like to see them hung up by their money. money, because that's what's driving them.
Right.
Their greed is driving them.
Yeah, but when we start down the path of hanging them up by their entrails, as you stated,
figuratively,
we'll give them a gold-plated.
Throw everything out. Okay, like is what happened with this Durham thing. They just pitch it out.
I think they need a gold-plated guillotine.
But here's the thing, Patrick. I agree with you. It's just
don't you love it?
I agree with you. It's disappointing that this first Durham case ended in an acquittal. But you know how many people today versus a year ago know that was a lie? And whether they're doing it consciously or subconsciously, they're shifting their authority to the truth. And that's what's going to ultimately prevail.
About 130%.
That's what's ultimately going to prevail. We may lose some court cases, but the authority of man in righteousness is shifting. That's what I'm watching. You call it however you want to couch it, free will, and people are waking up and they're being red-pilled or black-pilled or whatever the fuck. No, people are shifting their authority towards truth. And it may not be that they outright stand up on a soapbox in the public square and scream out, every single one of them. But I'm watching. When we were on vacation, did we encounter a single person that...
No, they were all conservative.
They were all conservative.
Yeah, we had a whole bar talking
I was
about
surprised.
It. Yeah.
And 2 years ago, Vince and I had to...
You might not have had that, right? 2 years ago?
2 years ago, Vince and I had to walk out of 2 or 3 different places because they were being all assholes about the bullshit. They're all awake. And whether they consciously get it or subconsciously get it, they're shifting their authority towards truth. Yeah. And that will eventually prevail. We may lose some public things.
Thank you, Lord.
But you know what? what is it? What's the statistic right now? 60%. It's like 90% of all Republicans believe that the election was stolen, but it's like 50 or 60% of Democrats know it was stolen.
Yeah.
When they do polls, they go, yeah, it was stolen.
You're like, man, I mean, I was really supportive of this Joe Biden guy.
Right.
But there was not that much support for him. I can't believe he won.
Exactly.
I literally can't believe it.
Right.
Because I thought I was like one of the only people.
Right. All right. Couple more things.
So 81 million people all of a sudden? Like, no, it's just not possible.
Most popular president on record.
Yeah. Bullshit.
I was looking
campaigning out of his basement.
Did you look at the registered voters timeline? It was every major election, it would go up 200,000 to 400,000 registered voters. Every major election, every 4 years, it would just spike up.
Yeah.
Every 4 years.
Yeah.
It would spike 200,000 to 400,000.
It's ridiculous.
And then 2020, it was the largest spike ever. It was like 500,000.
So that goes back to the first article we covered where there's been an election overturned. It was 4 votes, proven fraudulent, but 4 votes, and the margin of victory was 1 vote, and that was a city council seat in California, and it switched. So there's some stuff going on, and we got to do it.
You're sounding a bit tinny. Are you sure you're speaking into the front of your mic?
Am I good now?
No, there's a little tinny. There's tinny in mine too.
Okay.
Tinnyage.
We might have to adjust. We'll
got
adjust
a
that.
tinnyage going on.
We'll adjust that later. All right, so I got to shift gears on this. Let's go to my laptop, Tim, since you queued it up. The trader. This is from Natural News. Trader Trudeau to freeze all handgun sales in Canada in latest act of war against the citizens. So that is from Natural News. You can read that article out there. Justin Castro Trudeau. There is a meme that goes around that Justin Trudeau is actually the bastard son of Castro. You can look that up on your own.
There is another article, and I don't have it pulled up, but Canada, they just won in one of the cities for the mask mandates that are no longer in effect.
No longer in effect.
Because they fought
correct.
it, and
but that's what they're moving from one thing to the next thing to the next thing to take away the authority of the people.
Yeah.
So that what were we gonna say, Vince? But
I was gonna say but they managed to ban or illegalize, I guess would be the correct term, illegalize over 1,500 variants of firearms.
Yeah, that's I got a couple of these articles I want to go to.
Just out of nowhere.
Yeah. Tim, cut us to the laptop. Canada outright bans handguns as Biden targets 9mm ammo. That was a headline for Tuesday Live. I listened to the show with Harrison Smith. The next one, Canada, it's another article. This is on the New York Post.
Didn't know Biden was targeting 9mm ammo.
Yeah, he's doing that. Canada moves to ban sales of handguns and sweeping bill introduced after Uvalde. So they're using the Uvalde shooting. Let's see. Canada moved to make the sale of handguns illegal under a sweeping new bill introduced in Ottawa Monday in the wake of the Uvalde shooting. They're standing on the grave of these kids, okay? If you're going to ban handguns, why don't you ban them for all the people being murdered in Chicago every single week? Oh, we're not going to do that. We're going to do it on these kids.
Picture in picture, Jeremy, please.
What do you need?
Picture in picture.
The lower picture in picture.
I don't know if it works. It's not working, buddy.
Oh, it doesn't work with 6. Oh, we don't have it set up.
Yeah, we don't have it set up with 6. I got to fix that shit.
Hey, can I add something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, if anybody hears this that's maybe in support of them banning all these firearms.
Yeah.
Okay. If you support it in any way, is it not then fair that Trudeau and his cabinet all get rid of their armed guards?
I think it is. And I would say that.
Is that fair?
That is fair. I think Biden, if you're going to call for the disarmament of people,
that,
well, we already know they're hypocrites and liars. But here,
my problem is I don't want to go somewhere without my bodyguard being able to carry.
Yeah, it's like you're riding around in a tank,
right?
Telling everyone to get rid of their tanks.
I'm telling them to get rid of their BB guns.
Yeah.
They're riding around in a
but
tank telling them to get rid of their
that's the
BB
most
guns.
obvious metaphor you could use. Well, you got a tank. Why should I get rid of mine? Well, because I'm telling you to.
Again, the founding
Because I want to be safe, but I don't want you to be safe. I want to take you out.
But I could use my tank to blow your tank up.
Yeah.
So I want to take away you should not have guns, but we got an open border down there, so all the thugs and criminals and MS-13 assholes that come across that border can bring as many handguns and whatever they want to bring.
Let's not
Well,
even
but
get into.
Let's not mention that.
Let's not even mention
we won't
Operation
even talk
Fast and
about that.
Furious,
Yeah.
where Obama sent guns over the border using Eric Holder?
Yeah.
Yeah. They sent guns over the border into Mexico, gave them to the cartels, and then had them ship them back and said, look, illegal guns are coming into America. Yeah, because you sent them over there, you fuck.
Yeah.
That was called Operation Fast and Furious. It was one of the biggest scandals of the Obama administration, and the media fucking protected him.
Yeah.
And it was all a ruse to get rid of guns.
And
you know
some
why?
of those cartels aren't stupid. They didn't just send everything back.
Right,
They kept a bunch of them.
Hey, what's one of the highest murder rates in the Americas? Is it the drug cartels in Mexico, which is not a gun-free zone? It's a.
Well, if you go by population, it's way lower than you would think it is. Like it's not like in the UK where there's 63 gun murders per year.
Right.
It's nothing like that. If you go by the density, then the equation is way lower. Because there's more people.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was excellent.
Yeah. That was a
Yeah.
great synopsis.
It was very good.
Okay, so we know that Trudeau is doing this bullshit. Now, here's what Biden is doing. And Biden goes on an anti-gun tirade, suggests there's no rational bias for 9mm pistols. You know what? He's
That guy
somewhat
looks
right.
like a fucking loser.
Because
We should all have 45s.
I've come to learn that 9mm
I got 45
is less than
and 5.56
9mm is a weaker
and 12 gauge.
bullet than 45s, 38 specials, or even 22s. I always thought 22 was a weaker round, but because it
No,
has
it's one of
such
the
a
most
higher
dangerous.
velocity, it does more damage than a 9mm. And he's trying to make this argument in here. But here's one of the things that I wanted to read out. I got to put my glasses on. No, you know what I can do?
Remember
Right here.
in the movie Shooter
Yeah.
when Marky Mark he goes across that little pond there
Yeah.
to the dock
Yeah.
on a boat.
Yep.
And he takes out those like 2 or 3 guys
Yep.
with a 22. And he's just got like a water bottle
Yeah.
filled with some spray foam or whatever
Yeah.
on the end of it
For a
It's
silencer.
like-
Yeah.
with a 22.
I heard a baby nipple works well too.
Yep.
Yeah, I bet.
Yep. Whatever catches the gas is all you're looking to do. So here's the statement in here. This is from Biden. Remember the Constitution, the Second Amendment was never absolute. Fuck you, you're a liar. And then he says,
It was never
quote,
absolute.
you couldn't buy a cannon when the Second Amendment was passed. You couldn't go out and purchase a lot of weapons. Okay.
No, you could.
Here, let's switch to
definitely
this.
own a cannon.
Let's switch to this article from InfoWars. Bombshell. Oh, that's the wrong one. Right here. I switched over one too many.
I'm sure the production of cannons and more household firearms went way up, skyrocketed
Yeah,
right after they passed the Second Amendment.
right. Here's what it says. Biden fails fact check on Revolutionary War Canyon ownership. Instructions. Here's this whole company giving you instructions on how to take care of your cannon. Okay. In a recent interview, Vice President Joe Biden during Revolutionary War, private citizens couldn't own cannons and has been ranked false and with good reason. The interview in question occurred last month, Wired, blah, blah, blah. He was justifying a ban on assault weapons. From the very beginning, you weren't allowed to have certain weapons. You weren't allowed to own cannons. Okay. Pinders Institute PolitiFact fact checkers this week researched the claim, and after consulting with noted Second Amendment scholars such as Professor David Koppel, ranked the statement as being false with a variety of reasons. Here's our take. Back in 1638, the founding date of what is today the Ancient and Honorable Artillery Company of Massachusetts, to this day a privately recruited military unit, local communities took it upon themselves to charter units of cannonry. By the 1740s, local artillery units were in Rhode Island, New York, Pennsylvania, with official history of the latter militia and National Guard noting that in 1747, largely through the efforts of Benjamin Franklin, a plan was undertaken by local colonists to found companies of horse, foot, and artillery. That the volume stresses was a purely volunteer organization and was armed and equipped at its own expense, while its officers were selected by its own members. So the reality is,
Makes complete sense.
Biden's lying. And
It's more than I think he just doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
well, there's that. But he's also he even when he did know what he was talking about, he was still spewing this
But
bullshit.
the fact of the matter, it's coming out of his mouth.
Right.
Yeah.
Here,
He
go
just
to
has
go
to
to
make it look like he's the one pulling the strings.
Yep.
Because everything he says, Obama's doing it.
yeah. He's the puppet master.
He's in his mom's basement in his PJs, calling all the shots.
Mm-hmm. So check this out. Tim, go to number 6, please.
Or whoever. It doesn't even matter who's
We
doing
have on sale for $10,000 an original late 18th century small bronze minion cannon 2-inch bore. We can buy cannons right now.
Yeah.
There you go.
But you know what the interesting thing about that is with the cannons? Is that if it was a military-owned item, most of the military-owned items you're not allowed to purchase for after military use. You know that?
Civilian use.
You cannot get. You have to have special approval, special licenses if you were to purchase anything that's been used in military combat post World War I or World War II.
I bet I could find a tank online.
Isn't that what I was just talking about a little
Yep.
bit ago? About they'll make it illegal for you to purchase any weapons whatsoever unless you are a member of the military or a member of the police force.
Yep.
Sheriff's Department, whatever.
I just watched a video. My brother-in-law showed it to me. They were up here for a graduation. I just watched my brother-in-law show me a video of it on his phone where he was shooting a fully automatic modified 5.57, an AR-15 variant.
5.56.
5.56, sorry. I was looking at a bunch of ammo today, and I was looking at the 7.62,
Mm-hmm.
and I got a bunch of numbers locked in my head. The 5.56, and it was a fully automatic. Just pull the trigger in it, and it just bangs through it. And they've got 60-round magazines popped in these things. But the guy he's shooting with is former military and has all these stamps and does weaponry restoration for the military, for museums and stuff. And so he has all these stamps, and he can modify these weapons without getting in trouble. Isn't that amazing?
Mm-hmm.
Yet the military has all these. The government has all these weapons. Our Constitution was written so that we would have equal force if our government got out of hand. In fact, it's written in there that when our government becomes what's the phrase?
All you gotta do is buy it from the guys over in Afghanistan. You know, you get whatever you want. $84 billion worth.
Exactly. That whenever
Hey, yeah, can we get some of those American-made weapons from Afghanistan?
Yeah.
right.
No, I think that's a sad statement. That is a sad. We're going to get American-made stuff from Afghanistan.
Exactly.
Well, that's true.
Whoa. It is true, and it's
Yeah.
very sad.
Yes, it is.
They have a surplus.
It's
Yeah.
very sad.
I wanted to read it exactly where it says whenever.
Destructive to these ends.
Yeah, where's that at? Second paragraph?
I think that's in the
It is
the
right
later
the
part of
people
it.
To alter
Alter or abolish. Yes, where's alter or abolish? Is that second paragraph?
Whenever a government becomes destructive to these ends,
It is the right and duty, the duty and right of the people to alter or abolish said government as they see fit. And this should not be done for light and transitory means, but it's got to be in the Declaration, right? There it is. Okay.
Preamble to the Constitution.
Yep. That whenever any form of government becomes a second paragraph, whenever any form of, I didn't have it highlighted, that's why I didn't find it right away. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its power in such form as they shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transit causes, and accordingly, all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they have become accustomed. Sounds like somebody was reading up on Thomas Paine's articles, or vice versa. They were all reading. There, I gotta highlight that now. Okay, all right. That's our thing on that. Let's move on. You guys good on the? Okay, so they're trying to take our guns and go fuck yourself. All right, here's the next one. The ADL. Tim, switch me to. Thank you, sir.
On 6.
Yep. ADL caught falsifying statistics to frame white Americans. Okay, I want you to go to InfoWars, find that article, type in ADL falsify, you'll find it. Suffice it to say, they are taking any white gun violence.
There it is.
Yep. Any violence perpetuated by white people is automatically labeled as white supremacist. Any activities done by black or Latino is not labeled black or Latino in supremacy or racism. So anything done by whites, by the ADL, is automatically labeled as white supremacist, white ring extremists, so that they can vilify it.
Sounds like that agency needs to be altered or abolished.
Well, the ADL, it would be one that labeled the
I did not
Uvalde,
like those government.
Yeah, they would label the Uvalde school attack, the school shooting, tragic. They would label that as a white supremacist. They tried to label George Zimmerman as a white supremacist. He was Spanish. He's clearly a Latino-looking guy, okay? But they try to label it everything they can. Why? What's their push? They want to control that shit.
Well, they want to look at it and they want to bunch the people together so they can vilify more than one person.
Right.
There was only one person that shot those kids in that school shooting and shot those 2 teachers. There's only one person.
Right.
That shot his grandma. One person did it all, but all of a sudden it's the white guys.
So why did the police stand outside and do nothing
for 40 fucking minutes
and arrest parents who wanted to go in and get their kids?
Why did one of the officers
they didn't want to get shot?
Why did one of the officers go in with another parent and get just their kids out and not rescue the rest of the kids? Why did they have a shootout in the parking lot for 12 minutes before he gained access to the building? There's so many questions. In fact, I just heard this afternoon that
Who had a shootout?
They had a shootout with the fucking shooter for 12 minutes before he actually gained entrance.
Oh, geez, okay.
Yeah. This is all... Kids legitimately died, but this is a fucking psyop all the way around to try and gin up gun control. They tried to introduce monkeypox. It isn't fucking working. Now they're going to try to do gun control. I guarantee if we make it to November to actually be able to vote legitimately, I will be surprised. But you know what? That's going to come down to everybody standing up in their authority and saying no.
Yeah,
I do not accept
understand
that.
it. Understand the facts, the truth.
Yeah.
And what is going on in our country.
Yep.
You know, they're worried about gun control because there's shootings in the schools. What are you talking about?
As I posted earlier, if you want to disarm legal gun owners and you want to, you don't want to put armed guards at every school, then you want children to be shot in these quote unquote gun-free zones. That's what you want.
Well, you've given them the
authority.
Avenue right there to go in there knowing that there is no guns to defend. So
That's why
why would you do that? Why would you? I never understood why would we go to war and they would put it on the news. Oh, we're gonna bomb this, or we're gonna fight this, and I'm like, why are you saying it on the freaking national news? What we're doing?
Well,
I don't understand. So you're doing the same thing. You open the book and you go, well, this is our plan of action before you've done it.
right.
And you wonder why there's a problem.
Because there's, again, let's go back to it. There's two things: the freedom of speech and freedom of self-defense. When you use freedom of speech and twist it, you pervert people's authority and you get them to go along, and then their power is now on your side. And then you take it right there, self-defense, and you pervert it, and now their authority to self-defense is on your side. Patrick said it earlier. It's statistically proven that whenever we've had a national tragedy, we rally to the president and go to war. Whatever the current administration is, we rally to. Clinton is on record of saying that the Oklahoma City bombing got him the second term. That's what got him into office in the second term. Do a study on what was housed in the what was it? The Mirror Building. What was the name of the building?
Federal Mirror Building.
Do a search on what was housed in that building. There were some heavy duty records in that building that would have destroyed, if they would have come out, would have derailed this government. Do a little bit of a study on where the supposed plane in 9/11 actually hit the Pentagon, and you'll find out that the several trillions of dollars that they could not account for, that Donald Rumsfeld spoke of on September 10th. That was the exact fucking place that was hit. And all those records were wiped out.
Conveniently, that was right where the planes hit. Oh,
conveniently. Now we don't have those records anymore.
We just can't find them.
Yeah. All right. I really want to get into the memorial, but here I got to touch on these three things real quick. Okay.
Gas prices.
Yep. Gas prices soared to a record high on Memorial Day. Even though they were supposed to be lowered, they were going to do that. Gas prices, I won't even go through the statistics, but it's on there.
I saw it for $4.89 myself.
Now, here's the thing. Governor Whitlis, she backs a pause on the gasoline tax. Oh, because every dime and every penny matters. Oh, she's going to back. We're gonna pause.
Because she's
Pause
up
what?
for election.
We're going to pause.
why.
Well, here's the hypocrisy.
Pause for what?
We're going to pause the 27-cent per gallon tax for several months. That's what they wanted to repeal. She didn't want to do that. Okay, no. She wanted to do something else. She's like, on Friday, Maryland on Friday repealed its 37 tax. All she wants to do is pause it. Now, here's the thing. This is on Michigan.gov. Okay, 5 facts. Send a message to President Biden urging him to support Governor Whitmer's Line 5 shutdown. Wait a minute. I'm going to pull up. Where's the map at? I had the map right here. Okay, so there's Line 5 right there. All right. This is how Line 5 runs. And they're saying right here that that's where it's leaking and it was hit by a barge. Okay. So our illustrious governor, Whitlis, she wants to shut down. Here's Michigan.gov. Shut down Line 5 is the right decision for Michigan. Do you have an alternative to shutting down Line 5? No, you don't have an alternative. But you're going to suspend the fucking gas tax and tell us that every dime and every penny matters, but you want to shut down the main gas pipeline for natural gas?
No, I want you to take a look at that map and look at where it goes to. Okay, scroll up. No, up. No, down, the other way.
Put it on. Jeremy, put it on.
Scroll up, and I want to show where it goes to. It comes out of Canada and goes back into Canada.
Right.
It really doesn't stop in Michigan. They're just sending it through Michigan.
They're sending it through, but we feed off that line. Yeah, we're taking Severn Refinery. Everywhere there's a point, there's a refinery branch, and we're pulling off that line.
Yeah.
But they want to shut that down. What do you think is going to happen to gas prices if we shut down that pipeline that is the main feed? So I pulled up both articles. I pulled up the article from Michigan.org as to why they want to shut it down. Well, it could rupture at any time. Oh, it could rupture at any time? And then I pulled up the thing from Enbridge, who's actually managing it, okay? And they're talking about there's always maintenance that needs to be done. But the reality is they're trying to shut down something that's working.
I don't believe a barge hit the thing. It's like 240 feet underwater.
Well, Patrick, that's just logical. Come on. What
well,
what are
right
you
now in Howell, the cheapest gas is $4.57, and the average is $4.79 a gallon.
Right.
And I saw it at $4.89. So what is going on?
What is going on? They're trying to fuck with stuff.
They are controlling it. This is all a control. Everything is being controlled, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that they're going to do something to try to circumvent the election in November.
Yep. And they're trying everything from monkeypox to capitalizing on mass shootings. They don't want to talk about the lady, and I have that. I have that. Let me do it right.
Price of freedom.
And no, I posted the picture of the lady. I posted it on Facebook. I thought I downloaded it.
Yeah, what have I been
There it
saying
is.
this whole time?
Go to 6, please.
If any of you guys remember.
This man opened fire into a crowd of people with a gun he illegally owned, and the hero that stopped him was a woman who was legally carrying her firearm. No red flag law, no assault weapons ban, and not even the police would have stopped him, but a brave citizen with a gun owner did.
Yeah, she was a legal gun owner.
Exactly. Exactly. But that's what we're talking about. Is this just bullshit, man? It's just amazing to me how stupid people can be. All right, I got to switch to the Memorial Day because this is
Yeah,
Memorial
so we
Day.
know the gas scam's done. So
The
let's
gas
get
scam.
on truly remembering those
Yeah.
who paid the ultimate price.
So Tim posted this, and I looked at it, and I hit the like button. But then I noted, I'm like, where's the Civil War in this? And it wasn't a slight on Tim. He grabbed something, and it looked good, and there it was. So here's American Revolutionary War. There were 4,435 casualties. Now, when you think about the Revolutionary War, you thought, I would tend to think that it'd be like a lot of people killed. 4,435?
I would have thought, yeah,
A lot more, right?
a lot more.
War of 1812, which was when the British tried to come back in and start it up again and take back over. You had 2,260 casualties. All right. World War I. All right. Now we've got 116,000 casualties plus. World War II, you've got 405,000 casualties, the most by far. Now 400,000 casualties in World War II. Realize that and I don't want to take away from any of our veterans, but realize that World War II was literally won in the European theater by the Russians. They're not given credit in the American press because that would undermine it. But 20 million Russians were killed because they just sent them to the slaughter, literally. They would send... For every 2 Russians they sent into battle, they had 1 rifle. And they were told, when he gets killed, you pick up his gun and keep shooting. Because they didn't have enough weapons. And 20 million people fought on the Eastern Front against Hitler. It's called the... what's the battle called, Vince? I'm thinking of the Battle of the Bulge, which is not it. The
Normandy?
No. That's West Coast. The Battle of...
Berlin?
No, you're not helpful.
You're not irritating.
Blitzkrieg?
No.
St. Petersburg?
Huh?
Was it the battle for St. Petersburg?
Well, it was the battle for St. Petersburg, but they literally called it the operation. So there was Operation. It was the German operation. The Germans' attack on Russia had a specific name, and I'm losing it. And the
Wasn't
way
it Blitzkrieg?
it wasn't St. Lo. It was the German attack on Russia. The Germans had titled it a certain name, and they lost horribly, just like Napoleon, just like all the other people that tried to attack Russia. We got some sound over there. Holy shit. Anyways, okay.
I was trying to look it up.
Siege
For
of
you.
Leningrad?
Huh? Leningrad?
The Siege of Leningrad.
Well, the Siege of Leningrad was in there, but I'm talking about
The
what
Battle of Hedgerows.
No, it's what the Germans labeled it when they went into. They had the overall battle
Ooh,
plan to
let's
go
put
in.
that in.
The German overall battle to go into Russia had a specific name, and they failed. Just like Napoleon, when he went in, it was the Battle of Waterloo was his ending. This was the battle. Anyways, 20 million Russians. So we had 400,000 casualties in World War II. They had 20 million. The Korean battle, 36,000. Vietnam, 58,000. Desert Storm, 383. 383, not 1,000, 383. Because it was over before you knew it. Enduring Freedom, 6,775. Okay? And what was interesting to me, when Tim posted that, and it was late at night, and so I didn't have a chance to do this, but the one thing that I know, we can switch screens. One thing that I noted on that was that it didn't include the Revolutionary War. Okay? Now.
Civil War, you mean?
Any of those, was it?
No. Those are all the battles. But I was looking for literally what the Germans labeled it as because it was their downfall. They labeled, we're going to do this.
Because I got more.
No. We'll keep looking it up.
It says 15 more.
Keep going up. I don't see it yet.
You don't see it yet? There you go.
It was an operation. It was like
Operation
So should I put
Barbarossa.
Operation?
Barbossa. Thank you.
There it
Barbossa.
is.
Operation Barbossa. That was the name the Germans gave it, Operation Barbossa, and it was their most devastating defeat of the entire war. And it was because the Russians sent 20 million of their own people to die in repelling the Germans from taking over. And they did attack Leningrad and Stalingrad, and they did make some real good inroads, but they were pushed back. And if the Germans had not divided their forces between the Western and Eastern Front, they would not have lost the war the way they did. And I'm not taking away from anything from our brave soldiers that gave their lives on that, but these wars were not cut and dried, people just being assholes to each other and attacking. These were planned.
It wasn't all black and white.
Wasn't all black and white. There are people making money all over the place. There's people doing all sorts of things. And war Smedley Butler came back, one of the most decorated veterans of World War II, came back. World War II, World War I, Smedley Butler. He came back and said, war is a racket. It is all about making money. Vietnam was all about making money. Watch the movie JFK and pay attention to, he is a fictionalized, it's a fictionalized portrayal of a real character. But when Mr. X gives his speech in the movie JFK, it is based on General. See, I need my memory back. It's based on a real guy, and he didn't want to give his name until after he died. But they actually had brought him to the set, and they said, well, all I did was write letters. And they said, well, that doesn't translate much to the screen. We need to have a scene. And he says, okay. And so they literally wrote this screen out for Donald Sutherland's character as Mr. X. And he talks about what the impetus behind the Vietnam War was. And it's all about money. It's all about weapons. The budget, the war budget before Vietnam was $10 billion. During the war was multiple billions. It's hundreds of billions of dollars because they're buying helicopters and all sorts of equipment and taking it in there and perpetuating war. It's a racket.
Operation Barbados.
Yeah, Operation Barbarossa. Are you switching to that, Tim?
Is what he's got up there.
Yep.
Yes.
The failure of Operation Barbarossa reversed the fortunes of the Nazi army. Operationally, German forces achieved significant victories, and occupied some of the most important economic areas of the Soviet Union, mainly in Ukraine, and inflicted as well and sustained heavy casualties. Despite these early successes, the German offensive stalled in the Battle of Moscow at the end of 1941. The subsequent Soviet winter counteroffensive pushed the Germans back about 160 miles. The Germans had confidently expected a quick collapse of the Soviet resistance in Poland, but the Red Army absorbed the Germans' strong blows and bogged it down in the army of attrition for what the Germans were unprepared for. The Weimar diminished forces could no longer attack along the Eastern Front, and subsequent operations to retake the initiative and drive deep into the Soviet territory, such as Case Blue in 1942 and Operational Citadel in 1943, eventually failed, resulting in the Weimar's retreat and collapse. Does that have the list of how many troops died in there, Tim, during Operation Barbarossa?
Not that I saw.
Okay, I know that it's estimated about 20 million on the
And just go up.
on the
The military's on the up.
Okay.
Right on the bottom part.
Yep.
No, I mean, sorry, the other way. Down.
Yep, that's what Tim was pulling up. Let's see.
Same thing.
Yeah, they threw so much, and the problem was that Hitler made a deal with Stalin to not attack. They had a peace agreement, and then he violated it right when he should have just focused on the Western Front. If he would have left the Eastern Front alone, he could have walked into Great Britain. But they pulled some shit, you know. Anyways, so here's the next one on my computer. Tim, you want to switch to number 6? So here's the statistic I wanted to read you, is that we read 405,000 in World War II, and we think that's a big statistic. But that headstone that I showed you earlier, it left out the American Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
And in the American Civil War, it's estimated that 750,000. Almost double, not quite double, about 50,000 less than doubling what we lost in World War II. And if you count up all the wars, it is more than all the wars combined. 750,000 is more when you count it up. It's just we're trying to gain on it for some fucking reason, but 750,000 in the Civil War is more than all the other wars combined. Now, the reason I point that out is to go to this, okay? Is because on this day in history, the Civil War dead honored on Decoration Day, okay? By a proclamation of General John A. Logan, and I'm going to expand this so I can read it, of the Grand Army of the Republic, the first major Memorial Day observance is held in honor for those who died in defense of their country during the late rebellion. Known to some as Decoration Day, mourners honored the Civil War dead by decorating their graves in flowers. On the first Decoration Day, General James Garfield made a speech at Arlington National Cemetery, after which 5,000 participants helped to decorate the graves of more than 20,000 Civil War soldiers buried in the cemetery. In 1868, celebration was inspired by local observances that had taken place in various locations in the 3 years since the end of the Civil War. In fact, several cities claimed, and they go through this idea of who claimed it, and then at a certain point, I think it was FDR said it was, or no, it wasn't FDR, it was LBJ. LBJ said that they were going to name Waterloo, New York, as the birthplace of the Memorial Day. So there were multiple places that celebrated this. And then it says, by the late 19th century, many communities across the country had begun to celebrate Memorial Day. And after World War I, observers began to honor the dead of all the wars. So what I want you to realize is this understanding, we'll cut to another article here in a minute, is that, so I don't know where, Tim's not sure where he got that headstone, but he pulled it up, and rightly so, and I saw it, and it was cool. But I'd already known this, that Memorial Day was started specifically in remembrance of the Civil War in America. and he pulled up a meme, and it looked great, and it was saying, "Here's the number of dead. Here's the number of dead here," and it didn't have the Civil War, which is the impetus. I just read you that's history today. That's not a right wing thing. That's an A&E run website. I read the history of the day, and I have to read through it with a bit of speculation sometimes, depending on the article. But this is the fact, and I've got a couple other. There's another article on here. So here's my issue with this. It's not that they just dismissed or didn't include, and there were a number of other posts during the day and during the weekend. What do you got?
Casualties and losses. It's amazing.
Read it.
Well, it says casualties and losses, and this is from what we're talking about.
In the Civil War?
In the Civil War, 864,000 plus casualties. Then it goes down to say 50,000 free civilian dead, 80,000 slaves dead, and then they have quotations with disease.
Yep.
Total of 616,000 to a million dead.
Mm-hmm.
In this particular time, depending on,
yeah.
So not everybody died, but it says 137 were wounded. On the other side, it says 282 wounded,
yep.
181,193 captured, and that was 282,000 wounded. So yeah.
And most of the time during Civil War times, if you were wounded, if you got shot in the leg or shot in the arm, instead of being able to fix your arm or fix your leg, they would amputate your arm or leg. And if you survived that amputation, then you
so the statistics, okay, we're going to go to the Union and to the Confederate. 25,000 to 30,000 died in the Confederate prisons.
Yep.
26,000 to 31,000 died in Union prisons.
Yep.
I'm sorry, is that not adding up to 60,000 people died in prisons?
Yeah, their conditions were horrible. The same stream that they would take a shit in was the same stream that they had to get their water out of.
Yeah.
The if you've ever studied it, the Civil War was the sanitations were horrible. Okay, when you look at
wow.
I mean, just the term hooker. When you think of a prostitute and they call her a hooker, that comes directly from the Civil War because one of the generals was James Hooker or John J. Hooker. Anyways. It was General Hooker, and he brought in prostitutes for his troops to give them some fun activities when they weren't out on patrol, and the venereal
alleviate the stress,
and the venereal disease, and that was another one. Does it list how many? I'm sure it doesn't.
No.
But when you look up the statistic of how many soldiers succumbed to venereal diseases or were incapacitated by venereal diseases during the Civil War, it's an astounding number. You'd think, holy shit.
Well, it says on the Union side, it says captured, okay? And it's got, like I said, it's got both Confederate and Confederate captured was 181,193 captured, right?
Right.
Union side, it was 436,658.
Right.
That's 4 times the difference, 3 times the difference. That's just insane.
So when we look at the history of Memorial Day, what I wanted to point out was, yes, we have absolutely lost brave men and women in wars. But our Constitution was set up to not fight, and was set up in such a way that we were not supposed to involve ourselves in foreign entanglements, and that was espoused by many of our forefathers, who said we dare not involve ourselves in foreign entanglements. And other than the Revolutionary War and the War of 1812, on that headstone, the only ones that were listed after that were wars of foreign entanglement. You know, we got to go fight the Nazis. We got to go fight the communists. We got to go fight the towel heads, you know, in Iraq and Middle East. Well, that's what it was. You know, we got. If you're not with us, then you're with the terrorists. You know, the terrorists brought down these towers. Oh, did they? Did you do a forensic investigation?
Radical
Okay,
Islamic terrorists.
let's break down 9/11. First time in American history that we did not do an NTSB reassembly of 2 planes that hit 2 towers. We did not do an NTSB assembly of the plane that crashed in Pennsylvania. We did not do an NTSB reassembly of the plane that supposedly...
Clarify what an NTSB
so
is.
I have printed out, because I've started writing a book years ago that I haven't finished, but I printed out the entire NTSB after action report, or after action plan.
Not everybody understands what your acronym means.
Okay. The National NTSB is the National Transportation and Safety Board. National Transportation and Safety Board. Anytime there is a plane crash, there is a train crash, there is a, I don't think they cover, I think they might cover boats. They might cover nautics, but I know they are specifically tasked with covering air. Okay. Whenever there is an airplane crash, the NTSB, the National Transportation and Safety Board, will go and painstakingly gather every piece of that aircraft that they can and try to assemble it. They will take it into a large hangar and try to put it all back together to ascertain the exact cause of its demise, of its crash. Okay, and they will often issue new regulations or alter regulations, or at least put out provisos based on that. There was an incident where a certain model of aircraft had a bad seal on a back door. Well, that whole line of aircraft had to be grounded until they could replace those seals because they were going out in the air. Yeah, it's a federal agency charged by Congress with investigation aviation, so it's specifically to aviation. But it does, okay, so it does, they modified it, accidents of other modes, highway, marine, pipeline, and railroad. So either way, I downloaded the whole manual on what they're tasked to do. And it involves multiple agencies, but the NTSB, specifically those agents, are required to take all of the pieces that they can recover and put the aircraft back together to then ascertain what caused the collision. Okay? On 9/11, 4 planes were involved, according to the official government record. Okay? And they did not do that. They did not reassemble those planes. They did not take any of those scraps to a hangar and put them together. And people would say, well, we know the cause of the crash. That is pointless to say that. The NTSB is not tasked with coming to a conclusion based on a government rhetoric. They're tasked with putting those planes together, aside from any preconceived conclusions that we already have. Regardless of whether those planes, we know the exact reason they say terrorists took them into the NTSB doesn't have the luxury of not doing that, except in the case of 9/11. During 9/11, 3 buildings fell at near free fall speed into their own footprint. That is the only time in world history that any steel and concrete structure has ever fallen at free fall speed into its own footprint without demolition. These are anomalies. These are things that do not add up, that do not make sense. Okay? And when we have that types of situations, what was the outcome of that? Was President Bush standing on that rubble and saying we need to go into Iraq? No, he said we need to go into Afghanistan. And you go, okay, but you said that 14 of the 19 terrorists were Saudi Arabian, but we need to go into Afghanistan and Iraq? And that's the type of thing that we've been fed for 100 years plus in this country. Lies upon lies upon lies. Shifting the burden of proof. Well, you're going to say that that's not the case? That's what we told you. Or you're going to shift the burden of proof, and you're going to defile the memories of those who paid with their lives. And don't realize that the first Memorial Day, calling it Decoration Day, it was first called Decoration Day. Okay, that first Decoration Day was in honor of those who fought in the Civil War on both sides. And one of the reasons why I get so pissed off when somebody says that this country is racist or that we have a white supremacy problem is because 750,000 people gave their lives specifically to fight for the freedom of black people in this country.
Yeah.
And you're going to tell me that this is in any way a racist yeah, I'm sure there's racist people. I've come across racist people. And you know what? They're not just racist.
Joe Biden's one.
Yeah, Joe Biden's. Yeah, look up the record on him. If you don't vote for me, and you're not black.
He is a bona fide racist.
Yep. But what bothers me is we just celebrated Memorial Day. And the majority of people thought about World War I, maybe. World War II for sure. Maybe some Vietnam. Most Vietnam people coming back from Vietnam who were drafted, who didn't have a choice whether they win or not, came back and were spat upon, who were dishonored, who were disrespected.
Not only that, they couldn't share. I mean, war is war.
Right.
War is a terrible thing, and I think that you know, because I'm of the era of the Vietnam veteran, I have seen more than my share who have come back. You know, went out as 19-year-old, 18-year-old, 20-year-old, and came back
Totally fucked up.
totally
Fucked up.
Mentally and physically.
Exactly.
Yep.
And, you know, trying to find their way after something that they should have been going out and finding a good job and figuring out, or going to college or whatever they were meant to be. And they went to Vietnam and they came back with, they didn't get a hero's welcome because there was no victory in Vietnam.
It was never supposed to be a victory. It was always supposed to be a money grab.
Yeah. And unfortunately, our young people
Suffered.
and lost their lives. I mean,
And so for those people who protested against it, like Kent State, they shot them down.
yeah.
They physically shot them down.
And your point?
I'm just talking about, thinking about what our government is doing to us. They're shouting us down and shouting us down.
Right.
And
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and you've got people that protested you've got people that protested the Vietnam War that are now standing there saying we need to go into, we need to support Ukraine.
Well, I mean, I remember when my brother was an objective. How do you say that?
conscientious
Yeah.
objector. Yeah.
He was a conscientious, but he was drafted.
Yeah.
He
Right.
went. He didn't go to Vietnam, thankfully, but he objected, and he said he wouldn't pick up an arm. My brother was raised with guns. It's not about guns.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we miss in all of this. It's about hate. It's about greed, and it's about, you know, what somebody else wants that you have.
Yep.
They had a lottery system back then, and I had to register for the draft. And your birth date, they spun a wheel, and whatever your birth date, the number was, that was the number for it. My birth date drew number 65. Anything under 100 was going. I was still in high school. Before I graduated from high school, Richard Nixon did away with the draft. So kudos to Richard Nixon. He was ending the war.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have to go, but I was drafted.
Right. And so that's the amazing thing to me is that when we sit and we discuss it and we talk about Memorial Day, and I want to honor absolutely everyone who served, and I've met multiple veterans.
Not only served, but lives lost.
Lives lost.
I mean,
but
that's what it is.
I've met multiple veterans that, sat and talked with them, and they're reluctant, a lot of them, to share their stories. They will talk around their stories, but they don't like to talk about their stories because they have that. They'll tell you right off, I'm not the hero. The heroes are the ones who didn't come back. And
it's a difficult situation. I lived with a guy who went to Vietnam, and he was part of a airplane crew.
Mm-hmm.
and he set out a mission because he had a really bad sinus infection, and his guys didn't come back.
Yeah.
You can't imagine what a burden that is on a man.
That alone is the burden, and if it's justified, it's a burden. If it's a justified war,
he lost his family.
And then imagine when you come back and you find out that the reason I went to fight was some fucked up, global, elitist bullshit. Okay, and then you really start to go, not only am I not the hero because I didn't come back and those guys, or because I came back and those guys didn't. I'm not the hero because of that. Now I'm not a hero because I did go over there under false pretenses.
Yeah.
And I was forced to do it. Imagine the amount. Now, here, I want you to think about this, too. Everybody out there listening, okay? You have a whole... How many... Tim, can you look it up for me real quick, buddy? How many veterans do we have committing suicide a day in this country? So current veterans of any war that they've lived through are committing suicide in once you hear the number, it's disturbing, okay? And I want people to understand it's not because they were necessarily involved in something, it wasn't the My Lai, it wasn't if you look up My Lai, you look up that massacre where they went into villages and slaughtered people, and it was very bad.
Well, there were reasons for that. I mean, you're sitting in a restaurant with your friends, and some little kid comes in, wants to shine your shoes, and he just blows the whole place up.
Yeah.
So your buddy's history because of this little kid.
Right.
And so you get pretty,
you get jaded. You get pretty screwed up in your head.
Around little kids, and the next time a little kid comes in and wants to shine somebody's shoes, you take your 9mm and you blow him away because you think he's going to blow you up,
right?
Or you blow your buddy up.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff happens, and so it's understandable.
And then you think the guys that got killed, they're the heroes. I'm not the hero. And then you come back and you find out the whole thing was bullshit.
Yeah.
And you go, what? My buddy lost his life. We were invading some other foreign country where they were sending children in with bombs strapped to them to kill us.
Yeah.
What the hell were we doing there in the first place? That's at the core of this. But I want people to realize the original Memorial Day, Observation Day, okay, or what was it called? Decoration Day, was about remembering Civil War veterans. And I don't want to take away from anybody that has fought in subsequent wars. What I'm saying was the original day was to commemorate those who fought to free slaves and to preserve the Union. Now, I have some of my issues with the way that things were handled in preserving the Union because I believe in states' rights and I believe the states had the right to secede. But once the states seceded and then attacked, once the states seceded and tried to cause the remaining Union, they had some issues, with the remaining Union and tried to basically they tried to conquer different forts and stuff like that were still under Union control. So it was never cut and dry. Either way, I have a problem with it that we look to the current wars that are in our recent memory, and we don't look back to the Civil War. I studied the Civil War in grade school. It was one of the big projects. Mom remembers I had to go to the library multiple times and do this big report on it. And so much so that I refused to look at the Civil War for many years because it burned me out so bad. Studying on the Civil War to do my class, whatever the project was, I don't remember what it was, but it was like a whole semester I had to do studying on the Civil War and write a report on it in the midst of all my other work. And I spent many a days at the library just looking up things. And had I had the perspective I had today, under assignment today, I would have a different perspective. But
you had a pretty badass detailed report.
It was pretty badass. It was, but
I'm saying today with the knowledge you have now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it'd be. We would print it. That shit would be printed.
Exploded.
Yeah, that would be printed. in a book of all of its own. But my point is that we don't remember, even in remembering the sacrifices made, we have been conditioned, we have been trained to remember only certain things in certain ways. How many people on Memorial Day remembered Civil War veterans? And that white people, predominantly all white people, and there were blacks, there were other people, but it was a war of white people fighting to free black people from slavery.
Black people in there too.
There were, absolutely. And there were black people on both sides. There were black people that fought in the South. There were black people that fought in the North. Okay? But it was predominantly a war of white people.
I got veterans that, it says that 17 veterans still lose their lives
Every day?
to suicide every day. And this was September of 2021. In 15, it was 22 a day. The veterans would commit suicide.
What is
This is
It reached
21.
its peak in 2017.
it reached its peak in 2017.
Yeah.
That's what Tim has there. It was up to 20 a day died from suicide.
Yeah.
And what I want to realize is not just the inability to adjust back to civilian life. Okay, you take
It's the trauma.
It's the trauma. You take somebody that has an aversion. Now during World War I, one of the things that they learned in World War I, when they took all these young men who were hunters, who came from the farms, as the Japanese said, behind every blade of grass there would be a rifle. That's because all of the farm boys, we were very agrarian in this country still, all the farm boys knew how to shoot. They would pull the snipers out of our farm boys because they knew how to hunt and provide for their family. And they would send them over. And one of the problems that they found during World War I was that if they could see the people they were shooting at, they would not shoot, or they would miss because they could see another human being. And so they kicked it into high gear in World War II and even higher in Vietnam. That's why you would get the situations where the little kid's blowing them up. Well, they'd already been preconditioned to overcome that little bit of extra that's there, that this is a little kid. Well, he blows you up once, and they're like, fuck that, I'm going to kill whatever kid comes after me, right? It takes a lot to condition a man to overlook his humanity, to then kill somebody who's never done anything to them personally. And when they come back from that environment, it is a struggle to adjust to civilian life and not to be fearful of other people and not to have that psychosis going on within them. But when you add on top of that, specifically Vietnam and beyond, Vietnam and forward in history, the underlying knowledge that what I went to fight for was an unjust war. Now, I may have been fighting for the guy next to me, and I can take solace in that, absolutely. And I'm not trying to take away from those guys and their individual honor.
Things that happened that were on a little more of a personal level. I have a personal friend that spent 2 tours in Vietnam in the Special Forces. Mm-hmm. He was married. He was sending his GI pay back to his wife. A week before he ended his second tour, he got a Dear John letter from her. He came back. He was sitting in a diner. He was listening to this guy behind him. Did I tell you a story?
No, I'm saying, Tim, to leave that statistic up. Continue, Patrick. I'm sorry.
He was listening to this guy in a booth behind him at a restaurant, at a diner, talking about this bitch that he'd been shacking up with, and her dumb GI husband sending all his money home to her, and she's blowing it all on him. Rolex watches, jewelry, etc. He made the mistake of mentioning his wife's name.
Her name, yeah.
He got up and walked over and said, "I'm that dumb fuck GI you're talking about." The guy said, "Yeah, so fuck you." And that was a big mistake because he began to beat the living fuck out of him.
Right.
The guy that owned the restaurant came out and tried to subdue him. He beat him up as well. 4 cop cars showed up with 2 cops in each one. He beat the living shit out of all of them. The only thing that stopped him was a car that rolled by and it backfired. He hit the deck and belly crawled out of the place. That was it. Otherwise, nobody was stopping him.
Right.
He was pretty screwed up
Absolutely.
from all that
Yeah.
crap. I was talking to him one night. He was telling me he hates guns. Had too many of his friends get shot and killed. I said, well, what would you do if somebody broke into your house? He smiled, got up, went into his bedroom, came out with a strong box, dropped it on the floor, kicked it open. It was filled full of grenades. He said, I just blow them and the whole fucking room up. I don't even have to aim. I said, well, what do you do if you're walking around downtown Detroit and this shit happens? Shit goes down. He said, let me show you. Takes these big safety pins, and he pins one on the inside of my jacket on each side. He said, now, he said, you're walking around downtown Detroit and somebody pulls out a gun, puts in your face. You grab one of those things, you got command of the whole thing. You just say, yep, it's a good day to die. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Make my day. Because I'll take you and the whole damn block out.
Right.
You know, that was his mentality. Those guys went over there being normal people that came back pretty damn screwed up. Mentally and physically.
They did.
He was physically okay, but mentally he was a basket case.
Right.
So, and no help. There
No.
was nobody
None.
there to help him get his mental status back on track.
Right.
To be in society again. So, and that's not just the Vietnam. Vietnam War was a freaking horror story.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, 58,000 killed, and then how many went and how many came back fucked up.
Well, they had, napalm. Planes came in with they dropped napalm to burn out all the vegetation and everybody that was in there. They just dropped this liquid goo that just set everything on fire.
We just, a couple
Well,
years ago.
Agent Orange. They're still
That's what I was
dealing
gonna
with Agent Orange.
Yeah.
Tanya's dad was diagnosed specifically that his dementia and his Parkinson's, his Lewy body dementia and his Parkinson's came directly from exposure to Agent Orange.
Yeah.
And we dealt with that the last 3 years of his life. Horrible. 2, 3 in the morning, and he's screaming.
Yeah.
And we got to go put him back to bed.
Yeah.
That shit's real.
Yeah.
And Tim still has it up. There were 6,261 veteran suicides in 2019, down from years before, but overall they're still rising from 5,900, almost 6,000 in 2001 when the VA started collecting data. I can't believe they started collecting data only in 2001. That's bullshit.
In 2015, it was 8,000.
Yeah, 8,000, 2015.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the type of shit that we're dealing with. Now, here's the perspective again, okay? You're fighting a civil war, and the difference between you and the guy across from you is not a foreign country.
Yeah,
and
not
slanty
Chinese,
eyes.
Chinese.
This is your brother. This is somebody who the other day was your neighbor because they fought on other sides. Do you know that General Lee was originally asked by President Abraham Lincoln to to be the general for the Union?
Yeah.
And he turned him down and said, he says, as much as I disagree with slavery, I have to fight for my state, for my people. But brothers were fighting against brothers. So when you think about the horrors of Vietnam and going to fighting a foreign war and being, you have a little bit removal looking at the person across from you and not seeing a similar face, seeing something dissimilar, and you can justify that a little bit more. Now picture the Civil War and you're fighting against literally your brother, somebody who's identical to you.
Well, we're dealing with that today with people that want to destroy this country.
Absolutely.
And, their arguments don't hold water, but you're still, they're people that, they're our brothers, right?
Well, and that's the thing that I'm looking at. It's been thrown out there for a good 2 years because since this theft of election is that there's a civil war brewing.
Yeah.
And I would like and hope that people, in pursuit of their purpose and understanding their authority and their voice and understanding all these things, would take into perspective. When you talk about civil war, you're talking about fighting your brother for all intents and purposes. Okay?
Fighting your neighbor.
Fighting your neighbor.
But as a neighbor of mine said, who's a retired veteran, when they come knocking on your door wanting to confiscate these, that is no longer a sheriff's deputy or your neighbor. That's a communist.
And I get that full, and I'm with you wholeheartedly. But I'm looking at it from the perspective of the psyche of honorable people who don't go out of their. We're not looking to kill anybody.
No, got that.
And when you present that situation to us, what is our response, and what's the aftermath? And if you think about the aftermath at the beginning, you have hesitation. You rightly so. We're not going out of our way to kill people. No. We've had to assess, and I've posted it quite poignantly, that push comes to shove, I'm armed, and I will defend little kids at schools. I'll volunteer at the schools. You give me a day, whatever day you need me to, let's do it.
You become a Kyle Rittenhouse, where he went into a city and
all he was doing was trying to get rid of the graffiti and protect some businesses that his friends owned. You know, not even that his friends owned. His friends were there protecting the businesses, and his friends said, "What can I do to help?" He says, "Well, we're over here protecting these friends." They tried to corner him on that. They're like, "Were you asked to come and protect it?" He's like, "No, my friends were there protecting it, and I came with them." You know. But what I'm saying is, when we put it all in perspective, Memorial Day is not just about remembering those who died in the most recent wars, even though they're there, and I don't want to take away from them. But a lot of them are struggling, and we just read some of the statistics that
they're struggling because then we won't take care of them, but we're sending $40 billion over to Ukraine.
Right. And people look at us and go, how we have to help Ukraine. You do not know
No, we don't.
We do not have to send money over there, and you don't understand the trauma that you're creating over there. And all these people that are pulling the strings, all they want is your authority. All they want is for you to go along with whatever crisis is going at the moment, so that they can seize upon your authority and pervert it into their agenda. That's all they're looking for. And you're not dealing with that. You guys ready for final thoughts?
Yes.
All right, who's up first? Who's ready first? Because I love this, but I really want to drive that home is that when we sit around and think about Memorial Day, Civil War is the furthest things from most people's mind, and that's where it started. And the trauma that they dealt with, take whatever trauma we've experienced, or we've not experienced but observed, like your friend from Vietnam, other people that we've experienced from Vietnam specifically. I've got buddies that I went to high school with that were involved in Operation Freedom, Enduring Freedom, or some of these other, I had a buddy that was 2 years over in the deserts, and I look at the trauma that they've dealt with and the problems that they had readjusting. And then I want us to take in perspective, this Memorial Day was started specifically for guys who fought their literal brothers. There were they didn't look across the battlefield and see somebody who didn't look exactly like them. They looked exactly like them. Now take all the trauma that we have discussed here at the table and think, times it by 10. I don't want to say times it by 100, but times it by 10. You're literally fighting an internal battle against people who look just like you. And what does that take to come to that thing and realize that 750,000 people died to free slaves in this country, mostly white people.
It's a good statistic to remember, so that when you had somebody throwing it in your face, you can say, look, we're not a racist country. We are
right.
We had 750,000 people died in the Civil War protecting slaves.
Right.
the
We may have
rights of
There
all
may be some
people.
racist people,
Yeah.
but this is the farthest from any racist land.
Yeah, the racist people we are in government.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
They
and
have
they're
a
just
government right now.
perpetuating it.
Yes, they are.
They're spewing it out of their
Yeah.
mouth, trying to make everybody believe that that's what we all think, and
Yeah.
it's not true.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, they're
We
spouting
know
it
we're
right
not.
now.
Yeah.
White supremacy is the biggest problem. Well, the ADL. I pulled up the article today. The ADL is skewing those fucking numbers.
Right.
Patrick, you ready?
Well, with Memorial Day and Veterans Day, and there's several of them, we just have to keep in mind anybody that served, even the guy that drove the general's car. It was all a sacrifice to support and defend our way of life. And now our way of life is under attack. So this is basically a bold slap in the face to anybody that served in our military. What's going on in our country now is just horrendous. So on these days, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, etc., remember those people that have fought, given their lives to protect the freedoms that we take for granted every day. And remember that there was a big price that was paid, and that we need to defend it at any
Absolutely.
level that we can. That's
Yeah.
why I'm getting involved. I'm on the Election Integrity Committee.
Yep.
I'm on the ballot to become a delegate, and I will continue to fight that way.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, you were here Saturday and Monday, having people sign the petition to require ID for voting.
Yes. Yep.
Isn't it amazing that we have
I'm
to?
sorry. That's the dumbest thing I ever did think. I just think that. Are you kidding me?
We have to literally do a petition to have it.
Why? I've always had to give my
You gotta
driver's
give your
license.
you got to give your
and
ID
my
for
registration, and they look
cigarettes,
me
for
up.
alcohol, for anything
What the
out there.
hell?
But we
Now
have
we
to sign a
gotta put
petition.
Yeah, we got to put a petition out
No,
there
you're-
to say you got to check this
Yeah.
person's ID to see that
Yep.
they're legit.
But that's where people don't understand their authority, and so we've got to get to a place where we take back our authority. We take back and walk in our authority.
It's awful.
Vince, you're up. Unless Grandma's ready. Oh, Vince is taking the brain. He's got the brain.
Well, I have a colorful analogy.
All right.
It's like if you were to have, say you had a party, right? And a couple hundred people show up. And then later in the party you have an auction planned. Okay? And you're going to auction off some vintage items or whatever it may be. Expensive trinkets, Yep. So you have this auction and you go, "All right. Well, there's a mandatory minimum buy-in." Right?
Right.
$50, $100, whatever it may be. There's a mandatory buy-in. You must pay this amount in order to be in the auction.
In order to
have-
even bid.
in order to even have your bid,
Yeah.
you have to pay this amount up front
You don't
before
get
you
it
can
back.
even walk in the building. Okay? So when we tell people that they don't need these things that everyone else is required to have, it's just like if you were having that auction with a mandatory buy-in, right? And someone walks in
And they don't
out
have
of the blue.
to pay.
Someone walks in from the back behind the curtain of the party and says, "I want to put $5 million down on that item right there." It's just like that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And all of our officials are going along with it.
Absolutely.
And I can say, I'm young enough to say it, that I have not personally voted for any one of these officials that is in office.
Yeah.
Because all the ones I voted for haven't had the chance to get into office.
Right? But you made your voice
And-
heard by voting for who you believed was the right man.
Yeah.
Right man or
Yeah.
woman. The right person.
Yeah, and it seems like every single time that I feel energized enough, where I feel like I'm actually going to make a difference or something like that,
Yeah.
then everything just kind of goes back to normal, and it's like, oh, well, they just rigged it all again, and they stole it all again.
It's one step
Gotta
forward,
just-
2 steps back.
Just
huh?
get used to it. They're going to steal it. And then, but that makes me think, what if we had you know, our local election just here in Michigan. Okay, what if we had a couple hundred people show up to every single voting facility or counting facility? A couple hundred people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are they going to come out with armed battalions? Are they going to come out with a military presence to ward off these couple hundred people? Because I guarantee you, if there were a couple hundred, maybe 1,000 people down in Detroit around that counting office, they would not have gotten away with hiding all that shit. Boarding up the windows, blocking everybody from seeing, no observation whatsoever.
Right.
Zero. And they said there was absolutely nothing wrong with that.
But
the
that's
first time in history that they have blocked the windows.
right. But that's the thing with people like us. We don't think of that as a first solution. That is the last straw. We don't think of it as a first solution to
The
surround
last resort.
the last
because-
resort.
Yeah, because
Our mi-
basically we don't plan on this.
We're not going to violence
We're-
first. We're
well,
not Antifa and BLM.
I'm sorry, but in my mind, I don't go to everybody's a liar, everybody's a cheat, everybody's a crook, so they're going to steal our election.
Right.
That's not the first thing I go to.
Because you're not that way. You
Because
don't deflect. You don't.
Exactly. I am an
That's-
honest person, so
and
I
that-
don't think that way.
And
that
that's part of our
process.
problem too. Is we
Yes.
don't ascribe. We generally ascribe to people our morality, and then we find out that their morality is not our morality.
Yeah.
Then you go, holy shit.
Yeah. Doesn't even register.
Right. And it takes a minute for us to get to a place where we realize that their morality is not our morality, because we default to ascribing to people our morality over them.
And you know, one thing that I found that it makes it easier in a lot of ways, but it also makes it harder to understand certain things. But when you come to the realization that the people pulling the strings that are in charge, that control everything, that have all the money, that control the big corporations, that control the banks, that print the money, that manage all the finances, that basically have all the wealth in the world, those people, if you're talking about a morality level, okay, take your own personal morality and drop that by 1,000,000 points.
I was going to say 100%.
Take it down to absolute zero. You can give them a speck above absolute zero.
Right.
But once you realize they have zero morality, they have zero empathy
Right.
for humanity,
A lot of them are socio and psychopaths.
then it makes it easier to resist it in every facet.
Right.
You know, every way that it's intruding on your life makes it easier, because these people are the literal scum of the earth.
Right.
They are the pieces of shit in the yard.
I mean,
You
yeah.
know?
Do we really think that Beto O'Rourke has any depth of a moral compass or any true love for humanity? The way he grandstands, the way he is, so lustful for political office. And if you guys don't know this guy, look up Beto O'Rourke. Okay, he's a piece of garbage. But I mean, we could say that about, Joe and the Ho. We could say that about the majority of these leaders out there that have no moral compass. They say what needs to be said so that they can get into a place of authority and then coerce other people to go along so that you give them your authority so that then they can hijack the country. Do you think Nancy Pelosi has a moral compass? I want to quote that line from The Shooter again, from Vince brought up the movie earlier. Mark Wahlberg starring in The Shooter. And at the end of the movie, they go through this whole scenario, and he is vindicated and shown that he wasn't the shooter wasn't the one trying to assassinate the president. And the general sitting across the table who orchestrated all of it says, hey, none of it sticks to me. And the prosecutor who was in charge of the whole thing looks at him and goes, you know, General, your moral compass is so fucked up, I'm not sure that you'll be able to find your car in the basement parking lot. That's how fucked up his moral compass was. And that's what we're dealing with.
And then he gets a bullet, puts it in his rifle, and says, this fucker doesn't have a firing pin in it.
Right.
You scumbag.
Right. Yeah, that was how he proved that he wasn't the shooter, because the gun that they had in custody did not have he removed the firing pin, and nobody knew it. And
he always removed his firing pins when he got home.
His buddy had smuggled in a round.
Yeah, I think it was 50
and he put it in there, and he locked it, pulled the trigger, and nothing happened. And he says, that's because I removed the firing pin. You son of a bitch. You tried to pin it on me. Yeah. Put that up there, Tim. Thank you.
50
Check him
cal.
out. See it? Tim's killing that. That's the 50 cal. And he pulled the firing pin out of it. Now the bolt slide was still there, but the firing pin, that very smallest firing pin was removed. And yeah, that's gorgeous. Watch, if you guys get a chance, watch that movie, because that is a false flag frame job. That movie does a phenomenal job of showing you how a false flag frame job is put together. And so many of these frame jobs going on in this country. Yep, there it is. So, you good, Vince?
Yeah.
Am I?
Are you?
Pays the brain on.
Took a big draft there. We are at 11:35. It's time for Grandma, and then I gotta finish. Patrick's.
I just want to say, fuck Joe Biden.
Nice.
Fuck Justin Trudeau.
Hey.
And if all you Canadians want to give up your firearms, fuck you too.
Don't do
They
it.
don't. They don't want to.
I heard multiple Canadians calling into Alex Jones today in the War Room on InfoWars, and every single one of them was.
I was just saying,
fuck that.
The ones that do want to give them up, fuck you. Don't come to America.
Well, yeah.
Because I'm not gonna defend your ass when you won't even pick up a gun.
The problem is, Vince, we will defend no matter who's standing next
but
to
if
us
you're
when this
just
shit
like,
happens.
oh, I gave up all my guns and I can't do anything, and I want to. Can I use your guns now that I gave up all mine?
You know the scariest word.
You better bring some food or some shit.
The scariest words you'll ever
There you
hear
go.
is "Hi, I'm from the government and I'm here to help." That is the scariest words. That's a Ronald Reagan quote. The next scariest word is, "Hey, we just moved here from California." That's some scary shit.
Well, they're moving to Arizona more.
Maybe
than
maybe third to
more
that
than
is
Michigan.
we just moved. Texas. They're moving into Texas in droves.
They're
they're
moving
bringing
into
their
Arizona too.
Yeah.
In droves.
Yeah. So maybe the next word is, "Hey, we just moved here from Canada, eh?" Are you gonna pick up arms? Because we have the right to keep and bear arms here. So, oh yeah, fuck yeah, we're gonna do that.
Yeah.
I told you guys that I had a buddy in the locker room. He's from Canada, and then he moved here, and at the beginning of the lockdown shit, he was like, "Yeah, well, there's a lot of stuff going on, man. I saw this whole hockey team, they had to lock down." And now when I talk to him, he's like, "Yeah, this is fucking bullshit." Time makes more converts than reason.
It's all theater.
It's all theater. Pass the brain, Vincente.
Give me the brain.
I was gonna add one more thing.
Quickly. Patrick's got to pee.
There are a lot of guns in Mexico
Mexico?
because of past administrations, and probably even the current one,
Right.
the current fake one. I know there are a large amount of firearms in Canada.
Canada.
There are a lot of peaceful, respectful gun owners in Canada.
Yep.
But newsflash, Canada, you do not have a Second Amendment put down by the founders of your country.
Right.
You do not have a binding legal document
We do.
tying your rights to the founding of your country.
Right.
And down
that's-
here in
that's
the
the
U.S.,
difficulty.
We do have
We
that
do.
Yep.
as long as we fight for it. But
Yep.
that doesn't mean only America can fight for it.
No, it is. Our founders said that we hold these truths to be self-evident. Self-evident.
Yeah. So one of the correct roads that we could go down as a human race would be for every other country in the world to adopt America's
Yeah.
founding documents
Absolutely.
instead of the other way around. Oh, communism will work this time. Socialism will work this time.
When's
Oh,
it
it
ever
really?
worked?
How many times has it worked in the past?
Mm,
Zero.
mm,
Never. Nada.
Exactly.
Zilch.
never, ever, ever.
Never once.
Never, ever. All right, pass that
All
brain.
right. Yeah, the next thing is war is the number 2 killer of humankind
In all
all history. War is the number 2 killer.
What's the number one, Vince?
Number 1 killer of
Plague?
humanity is democide,
Which is
death by government,
death by government. So either they're going to kill you just because of the government,
which means take every number from every war that's ever been fought.
multiply it by 1,000.
No, you don't even have to multiply it. Add them all together.
Add 'em
Every
all
war
together.
that's ever happened on Earth
Well, I know that
has
we-
been. It wasn't until the Civil War in America
Mhm.
was not fought, at least that I know, for the people.
Well,
Did he put that up? Making good people
I put that
helpless
up. That's
won't make people harmless.
that's on my laptop.
Oh yeah,
Go
that's
ahead.
what I was gonna say.
I'll go ahead and put that up.
Taking everyone's guns away, getting rid of all your guns, thinking you're doing something good, it's not gonna save a single life.
Exactly.
Making
And
good
it never
people
will.
helpless won't make bad people harmless.
Correct. Saw that meme today. I can't remember who I downloaded that from, but that was a great one.
Yeah, that was really good. I'm gonna make it short and fast.
Short and sweet.
Yeah, defend where you can.
Defend where you can.
Pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
Pray all the time
Right.
without
Simple.
ceasing. Be thankful for your family and your friends, and go for the truth, pure and simple.
Go for the
Truth is
Yeah.
where it's at.
Especially when it's difficult.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Face the truth. You know, sometimes when you look at things and you go, "Oh, I just can't tell that person that I screwed up." I can tell you how many people have come to me and said, "Oh, I don't know what to do because this person's really going to have a hard time with me because I really screwed up." And I'm like, every scenario in your head is going to be worse than the scenario that's going to happen when you face the truth with honesty and say, "I screwed up."
Right.
So these people who took the vaccine and now are going, oh, now I see this isn't right.
Get on some.
Just be honest. There's not a person out there that won't come to you. In my book, come to me. In my book, that wouldn't come and say, "I'm sorry that you bought into this lie."
Right.
That you bought into this fear factor. And you put the scripture on the back here and it says, "For God hath not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." And I pray that we have a sound mind, that we don't have this fear that just sucks us into going, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh," because God has given us authority.
Yeah.
He has given us love.
Yep.
And he's telling us of sound mind. He has given it. It says God hath not given us a spirit of fear. So he has given us power, love, and a sound mind.
And that's a balance. You get power first, then you love, starts to temper it, and then a sound mind disciplines it.
Yes. And just like you said, with the self-control, everything in this has to be fought. When they said, when the guys in the Civil War fought because of the slavery,
Yeah.
okay, the ones that were saying this ain't right,
Yep.
were doing it from love,
Absolutely.
from a sound mind.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that were fighting to keep the slavery were doing it out of greed.
Well, they're doing it out of greed, but
control,
they're also doing it out of love, because they were of love of their
love of money,
love of their country through a perversion. They were twisted, just like people have twisted mentalities today, and they believe they're on the moral right.
Right.
You know?
Right.
There was
and it wasn't. How is it morally right? How do you get that in your head that it's morally right to own slaves, beat them, sexually abuse them, put them, you know, how do you dehumanize people? And that some slave owners, not all, did dehumanize their slaves.
Oh, without a doubt.
And so, you know, that was the fight.
Yep.
And yet we're back to it because the government now wants to enslave us. And I'm sorry, but they're halfway there.
Well,
Yeah,
and
not just some of us, all of us.
All of us. And what do they want to enslave first and foremost? And that's my final thought. I'm going to go back to it. I didn't expect to go into this, but it's been on my mind. I've been meditating. I even spoke to Mom and Leslie the other night about it. The authority. And people keep talking about free will. They keep talking about these concepts of these ideas. And the reality is it comes back to a fundamental understanding that it's not about your free will, it's about your authority. And within your authority, there is free will. But it's your authority that they're trying to grab a hold of and control. Because if they can get you to go along with their agenda and give your energy, your authority into their wicked and twisted agenda, then they gain power from that. When they torture a little kid, when these pedophiles abuse a little kid, there is all these psychological dynamics, but above all, they're stealing the life essence and the authority of a human being that God created. Go read again. Go read Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2, and then even chapter 3, where the serpent comes in. And what was his agenda? His agenda was to usurp their authority, because they were given authority, dominion. And Patrick and I don't like that word because, you know, dominion, the dominion machines that they had. But that's
take dominion over them machines.
But that's the fucking machines that they're using. You know,
who are those owned by?
Owned by?
Aren't those owned by George Soros?
I don't know. We can look that up. Do your own research. But the point is that there's authority.
30% chance.
We're called to operate in our authority. And your voice, and if you don't understand this, you're called to operate in your authority. Your voice and your right to self-defense. There is no right to war. There is no right to attack somebody unjustified. But every single person on the face of the earth has the right to self-defense, to defend themselves. That speaks of authority. It doesn't speak of free will. It speaks of authority. People want to capitalize in the church, and the church has been derailed by that. Multiple things the church has been derailed of. But the reality is when you start to analyze it and you go, wait a minute. God created me, gave me purpose. If I know my purpose, I walk in happiness and joy. And that's what the Constitution speaks of. That's what the Declaration of Independence speaks of, is the pursuit of happiness. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Well, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are found in purpose and authority. When you know your authority. I love some simple things like when they expanded the westward territories and they went into Oklahoma and some of the other places where they shot a gun and everybody raced into parts of that area, part of that land, and they staked a claim, and if they worked it for a number of years, they owned it outright. Whether, you know, they didn't have to pay for it, they just had to stake a claim and work the land. That's authority. In Scripture, it talks about wherever my feet may tread. There are so many of these concepts in there. And what it comes back to is your authority. The First Amendment speaks of your authority to speak into the earth. God created the world by words. And we hold them so cheaply. We're worried about people cussing like we cuss on this show. And yet you don't speak over your environment. You're worried about cussing, but you don't speak into the atmosphere and command those things that are not to be as though they are, or as though they were. Speak into your environment and command those things that are not to be as though they were. Are you doing that? No, you're worried about somebody cussing and using a few flamboyant words. Well, my mom has said on this show that when we say the F word, fuck, it means it's a Anglo-Saxon word that means to pound up against or to beat against. Okay? So when I say these fucking idiots, I'm pounding up against idiots. All right? And you can't handle that because the FCC has ruled those words, certain words to be bad words, 4-letter words. Then you don't have a concept of what it means to walk in your authority yet. And you're kowtowed and you're fearful. I'm not saying you have to use those words. I'm saying you're fearful of certain words, and it's enshrined in the First Amendment of the Constitution. It's also enshrined in Scripture about that God created the world with His words. Well, if you're not creating your environment with your words, you are not walking in your purpose. And if you are not walking in a position of maximum self-defense, where if the battle comes to you, you will rise to that challenge, then you are not walking in your purpose. And if you don't understand that you have been given authority by God to take dominion over that which is in front of you, that which everywhere your feet tread, in a balanced idea, doesn't mean everywhere you walk is yours. It means whatever you have authority over is yours. That's why they want to get us into coffin apartments. That's why they want to get us into not owning property. That's why they have instituted property tax, because it takes away, it diminishes where our feet tread. And it's an abomination to what God has ordained in the earth. Your land is, the land that you tread, the place that you walk is supposed to be yours, sacrosanct. No challenge to it. It says in Scripture, do not remove an ancient boundary line set up by your forefathers. These are absolute ideas and concepts that God has instituted in the earth. And the further we move away from them, the further we allow our authority to be used by those who would pervert it and use it to destroy mankind. And that's my final thought. Did you write something down, Vince?
He did.
I'll read it, buddy.
It's a good one.
What does it say?
Well, let's
go
with this one. For God hath not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and a sound mind. And Vince wrote,
Government
gives us the spirit of fear.
Government creates a spirit of fear. Why?
Because it. Yeah.
Who was one of the founding fathers said that when the government fears the people prosper, and when the people fear the government, the people perish. And that's where it is. I am Jeremy Scott Gibbs. Patrick Acton was here. He had to go. He had a long day. Taylor Vincent Gibbs. Grandma Connie Sue Gibbs. This is my brain. I hope you've enjoyed it tonight. I hope we can pull some good excerpts out of the show tonight. And I thank everybody for tuning in. Sorry I didn't get to everybody in chat, but it seemed like the chat was a little quiet tonight. There's a few people that, I know there's a lot of you listening, but there was a few people that chimed in. But we didn't go extensively in that. So with that, I will let you guys go, and I'll say good night and God bless.
Liberty, not tyranny. Let's choose liberty, not tyranny.
Well, go ahead and do your ending.
The outro rolling?
It is not rolling. We don't have it pulled up.
No, it's not. Do you hear it? I didn't hear it. There we go.
This is my brain.
Dad, that's an egg.
Yeah, that's an egg.
Honey,
dude,
that's an egg.
Seriously.
That's an egg.
It's a metaphor.
It's still an egg.
That's an egg.
I would challenge you.
That's an egg.
I know my brain is not actually an egg, okay? It's a metaphor.
Metaphor or not, that's not your brain.
I can clearly see.
It's just an egg.
Una cerveza para mí. My egg is my brain.
Can I at least have some bacon, maybe some sausage with that egg, though?
Oh, I want some bacon.
I want crepes.
Have some bacon and pancakes with that egg.
I'll take it with cheese.
Extra large brown cage-free eggs.
Can I have your brain with cakes?
A little sausage and a little toast and potato.
That would be great.
Does it have antibiotics?
I don't know, man. I'm not good at this shit.
Well, they got to be able to resist